Round 5 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship from Riga in Latvia saw battles galore between the front runners of this brilliant championship. It all came down to tyre strategy though, and that man Johan Kristoffersson had just been a little bit cleverer than everybody else. He had more tyres left, more pace, and took his 23rd career victory. We remain in Riga, in Latvia, for round 6 of the series. Another double header. Championship reaching the halfway point at round 5, so all still to play for in this beautiful city. This is where we've been, a double header, of course, in Sweden at Höljes, just 5 days later to Kouvola in Finland. No time to react, but a bit of time in between Finland and here in Latvia. With that double header again yesterday, people now know Johan's strategy. Of course, he did stretch his championship lead, but will they be able to respond today? He's 21 points clear of Mattias Ekström in P2, and it's Niklas Gronholm and Timmy Hansen in that fight. Kevin Hansen, Larsen, Bakkerud up to 7th, and Scheider down to 8th. Ekström doing a brilliant job with his teammate Robin Larsen to be at the top of the team standings with KYB Team JC on 197 points ahead of Team Hansen, Kevin Hansen and Timmy Hansen, of course, and then GRX Tanako, Niklas Gronholm and Timur Timosyanov. There'll be a fight between them for the big trophy at the end of the season. This is where that fight continues, the wonderful Biķernieki racetrack. Let's take a look at the rallycross layout here in Latvia. 1,294 metres for the standard lap, 1,352 with the Joker. 6% asphalt, 40% dirt, but the dirt is really abrasive. My name's Andrew Coley. Joining me on comms is Dan Rook, Neil Cole reporting from the paddock and the pre-grid. Start on the outside. He had a terrible draw yesterday, not as terrible as Niklas' start was sideways. He did well to keep the car out of the wall. But Ekström, last to pick in the driver draw, ended up in the first race and on the outside. But the times in free practice had shown that the track was really quick. One mistake from Ekström rattled him, but he put in the fastest time of the weekend so far. Andreas Bakkerud on the inside, very equal start. Watch for Larsen coming across Parsonen and Bakkerud. Tiny bit of contact there. Scheider manages to get around the outside into P2. Bakkerud down in 3rd. Larsen wasn't quite as quick as Ekström in terms of outright pace. Didn't have any mistakes in his run though. Bakkerud just managed to pick Scheider at the line. Race 3, Timur Timosyanov on the inside of Rennie Munick was left at the line. Liam Doran with a bit of contact on the rush and up towards the first corner. Gronholm got all the way around the outside. Doran unfortunately nowhere to go and ends up on the outside of turn 2. Gronholm and Timosyanov running together out front. Timur made this mistake on the brakes in the Joker. It just ran him wide. He had to wait ages to get back on the throttle, and that put him into the clutches of Liam Doran, who let him know that he was there. Great battle between them, but losing time with too much sideways. Gronholm absolutely flying at the front, not as quick as Ekström though. Timosyanov chased by Liam Doran to the flag. Final race of Q1, round 6 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship from Riga in Latvia. Timmy Hansen, the world champion on the inside. Johan Kristoffersson, the double world champion. Yesterday's winner is next to him. Bachuska in the middle of the grid chose this race because of the two guys who were inside him. Anton Markland and Kevin Hansen outside. Anton feeling that a wider grid slot was better. The only 5-car race, so you could argue obviously there's more going on in terms of tactics. But these guys felt they wanted to run later in the session. How is the track? How will the start be? Will we get them all clean through turn 1? Fair old hold on the lights, a really long one. Longest hold we've seen all weekend, I reckon. Good start, Kristoffersson and Hansen on the inside. Timmy Hansen matching Kristoffersson down to turn 1. Johan won't be able to turn in from there. Markland tried to go around the outside. Bachuska trying to go around the outside of turn 2. It's Timmy Hansen from Kristoffersson. Kristoffersson has a look to the inside. Not quite enough room, he won't make the move there. Bachuska is in front of Markland and Kevin Hansen. That's going to be hurting Kevin Hansen's pace. We know he was quick yesterday. I think he'll Joker immediately off the back of the pack. The damage will be done by then though. So it's Timmy Hansen versus Kristoffersson out front, Dan.
Yeah, Timmy had a great first corner there. You saw him run everybody really deep, and he knew he had to do that, otherwise Johan would have just driven around the outside of him.
Yeah, tidy start by both of them. Peugeot have been working, well, Hansen have been working really hard on their starts. That's interesting to me. Kristoffersson jokering earlier. I don't think that's going to pay off at all unless he can beat Biķernieki at the merge right now, and I don't think he will.
No, so that's
a mistake for me.
Yeah, that is a mistake. You're better off sticking with Timmy. Now look at him. Well, he's got a little bit of a gap. But that's probably going to be one lap he'll make up that time.
We're going to have to eat our words in a minute when he nails it and takes the top time, but I wouldn't have gone then, but there you go. So it's Biķernieki that's the issue. We know Rokas is struggling a little bit with the car. Kristoffersson's going to be on the back. I'm surprised Kevin didn't go.
Yeah, but then Kevin would have followed Martin.
Yeah, so he can't. No, true. Okay, so these guys are in trouble. So this is more about Timmy now up front with the 48.7 on his first lap. It's whether or not he can match Ekström's pace. Ekström is looking really good here with the 48.2. That was his opening lap, wasn't it? Joker this time round for Biķernieki. That has released those guys, but I think they've lost too much time. What are the lap times? Of course, Joker didn't know for Kristoffersson, but Kevin Hansen was a 50.8. He's 2 seconds off his brother's pace on the first lap. He's gone down. They can't win the session from there.
Yeah, now as well, because Johan had 2 cars in front of him instead of just 1. Obviously, they were going to split, the 2 cars in front of him were going to split the strategy that they'd done, so Johan's now held up by Hansen.
A very rare piece of damage on the front right of Kristoffersson's car. It's unusual for him to not win the start. Yeah, there we go. But again, good to see these guys in a proper scrap, and it does just go to show you that even though they were pretty early in the draw, they got to choose inside in the last race. Timmy was the first person in the draw. Timmy's actually made this work, but parts falling off now. But it's only bodywork, doesn't matter.
Over the jump, Johan, he's trying to find a way past, isn't he? Because Kevin now can play rear gunner for Timmy. Of course, teammates, you may as well, hadn't you? The man to beat is stuck behind.
Timmy could do this as well. He's in the 48.5s consistently. So Timmy's done a 48.7, 2 48.5s in a row. He's super consistent. Those last 2 laps are 9 thousandths apart in terms of pace. So Timmy Hansen is on a big push and going well. You can see Kevin Hansen's got a bit of damage on the back of the car, and I suspect that might be from this little battle. They're both trying as hard as they can. Kristoffersson's joking already. Kevin hasn't. Kevin just pushing for a good time. Johan will get him, of course, as soon as he jokers. Come on, Timmy, where is he? Can Timmy match Ekström's pace? Timmy Hansen in the joker lap now. Kevin goes in with him. Kristoffersson on the standard lap, and Johan's not that far back. He's not going to lose a ton of time. In fact, he's so close, he might even be able to get a run on Timmy towards the line. Timmy Hansen going to hug that inside line. They're gunning it for the line. 322.3, it's not enough. I'm staggered that Kristoffersson was that close. What were Kevin's lap times? 48.6s and a 49.1. Bad joker, I mean, for Timmy?
Potentially, but...
Well, no, it's a similar time to Johan on the first one. Well, either way, they haven't managed to match the pace of Ekström. Timmy Hansen, Johan Kristoffersson, Kevin Hansen. Johan was a lot nearer than I thought he would be with that early joker, a lot closer. Just goes to show you that, you know, the geniuses are the other side of the wall in the sponsors tower. That's fine. Ekström and Larsen, top of the table. It's a 1-2 for KYB Team JC. Timmy Hansen, Johan Kristoffersson slot into P3 and 4. Look how close it is, though, because Kevin Hansen wasn't that far behind, and he's right off the front page. Kristoffersson looked like he got the better reaction time, but the Peugeot matched him all the way to turn 1.
Yeah, watch how deep he runs. So you can't quite see it from that angle, but I was able to see it from our commentary position. He ran the car all the way to the outside of turn 1, which is obviously the inside of turn 2, so nobody's going through there.
I didn't see anywhere where Kristoffersson, he hasn't lost the front corner at this point, unless he puts a marker on the inside.
I think it might have been contact with Kevin Hansen. Was it there?
Here it is. There it is. Yeah, look at that. That is as well. That's as close as you can get because they're actually touching each other. Through that corner, Dan, that's committed, isn't it?
Yeah, and it just shows the traction he's got in that car, just to be able to just drive into the back of him off the corner. Couldn't
find a way through though. Everybody's saying yesterday it's really, really hard to pass through. We have seen it done up into turn 3, but you have to be absolutely bang on it. Kristoffersson, impressive as ever. Look, he was very nearly there. Not quite, and it's Ekström that wins the session.
Timmy, great to get a first race win on round 6. How was it?
It was a good start to the day. we're working so hard. We're a small team and we only have the resources we have, but as I've been speaking about, the launches haven't been good, and now we've changed some things, and today I took the start. I had pole, yes, but it was against Kristoffersson, and so we are taking steps forward. You know, yesterday morning I would have been behind, so huge thanks to the team. Everybody's putting all of their heart into this. I think I lost a bit of time on that first lap compared to Ekström, but the run overall was good, and yeah, I'm very happy with this start to the day, and I'm happy about the progress we're making.
Let's take a look at the standings after Q1. Mattias Ekström at the top of the table with his teammate Robin Larsson right behind. Timmy Hansen and Johan Kristoffersson very close on pace as well. Niklas gone on 2. That's going to be your last race, or maybe your first race in Q2. And then you've got Bakkerud, Scheider and Sabo, the top 8. Kevin Hansen, Anton Markland, Timothy Mazjanov and Liam Doran at the minute. Look, Rainy Snit is just outside at home in Latvia.
Kevin Hansen, a very busy qualifying one race for you. There's a little bit of damage to the back end. How was it for you?
Yeah, it was tricky. The launch was not the best. We've changed some things overnight, so I was not just completely on it. Have to get that sorted for Q2, and I think I will. Then the speed was really good this morning, so we dropped about half a second now for Q2, and we don't really know why. So have to really look into that. But general feeling is very good in the car, and I think we are on for a win today. So just have to put the puzzle together.
Yeah, under a lot of pressure from Johan Kristoffersson. How do you cope with that?
Yeah, it was no problem. I know Johan is fair, and it's just about getting a good time in these qualifying races. So we were held up a lot by Biķernieki, so that was costing a lot of time, unfortunately. But it's down to the start, so we weren't first out, and that's the problem. So, but it was nice to have Johan on the back. It's not often we have had that so far this season.
Good point. Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Let's swing around here and have a word with Timmy. Timmy, we're not allowed in officially, so you can come to us. How was that qualifying one for you? It's good to get a race win.
Yeah, and this is only my second race win of this season, which explains a lot about the issues we've had with the start. We're not getting out in front. Finally today I had a good launch, and we've been working so hard on that. So it was, such a relief coming out of turn 1 with a free track ahead, and I can push in my own rhythm. So it was a great run, but I think we lost quite a lot of time on that first lap in the first corner. It is a bit better coming from the outside and getting good speed through turn 1 and also through turn 2. So yeah, but we'll also work on the pace. I think we need to find a little bit more, but I promise you I'm doing everything I can, and that was a fantastic run. But we need to continue to work. We need to continue to be creative and find some more pace.
Just quickly, we know that Kevin was kind of keeping Johan behind him, but were you surprised at how close Johan was over the finish line?
Actually, I just ran my own race. I saw him taking the Joker on lap 2, and from there on I ran my own race. But he is super fast, so of course I'm happy to finish in front of him. But as I said, we need to continue to work and be creative. I mean, find where it is we can do a small change and find some time and find some extra advantage in the start and so on. So yeah, we'll see how it goes in Q2.
Okay, a podium yesterday, but let's see if you can go a few steps higher today.
Yeah, I want that.
One qualifying session done and dusted. This is how we stand ahead of Q2. Ekström at the top of the table with his teammate Larsson right behind. Then Timmy Hansen and Kristoffersson. Gronholm, Bakkerud, Scheider, Sabo. Kevin Hansen, Markland, Timazjanov and Liam Doran are currently inside the all-important top 12. Drivers all within need of a good result to slot themselves into the back end of the semi-finals. A little bit of contact on the run for the first corner for Biķernieki, got sideways, and it seemed that there might be an issue with that car as he was at the back of the pack. Munich out front doing a fantastic job to just check out, and And there it was, Bačuska unfortunately checking out in a very different way, parking the Clio at the side of the track. Game over for him in this one. Checkered flag for Munich. Race 2, outside, Nitish racing at home in front of a crowd. First time with a crowd here this year. Timozyanov, they got the whole shot ahead of Liam Doran. Doran was looking really racy in this, doing some good lap times. Timmer doing exactly what he needed. He had new tyres on the car, and if he couldn't make those work, it would have been a wasted set. And with them being so critical here, he just didn't need that. In the background, you can see a problem for Liam Doran. He dropped behind Reinis Nitish, but a win for Timozyanov. Race 3, Q2. Bakkerud, Scheider, Sabo and Hansen. Relatively safe look. Sabo's going new tyres as well. So our GRX playing the same card across the entire pack, if you like, this time round. Scheider, 3 new boots, Bakkerud with 2. Now we're properly ready. I love that. Just, you can hear each car. Got to get a sequential box in your road car. You really have. I know a man who's just got one. He's at the mine. Hope you're having fun, crew. Green light. Bakkerud hasn't got a great start there. He might just hold on the inside line. Scheider squeezing Sabo out wide. And I tell you what, for what was not a brilliant start, to have the whole shot is good. Sabo up the inside of Scheider, but can't make it stick. Kevin Hansen looks. Sabo goes defensive. That'll give Scheider just a tiny bit of breathing space on the exit. And it does. Scheider late on the brakes into the hairpin. Bakkerud did really well to hang on to that, Dan, because for me that was an average start, and somehow he's still out front. Yeah,
it was lucky there where Scheider pushed the rest of the pack over to give himself a little bit of space. That opened up the door for Andreas to straight line it into turn 2 to get up the inside. If Scheider was leaning on Andreas a little bit more, he wouldn't have had that chance.
Bakkerud pops the curb. Look how much curb Sabo used in the background, every bit of it. Sabo's car has been updated since Rutkanen used it in Finland last time. Stefan Spies messaged me yesterday and said, I can see the exhaust has moved, what's going on? And we'd spotted already that Rutkanen was running a different spec of exhaust in Finland to the other 2 cars, and they've actually updated Sabo's car between Finland and Latvia to run the same spec exhaust as Gronholm and Timozyanov. It's actually not a performance upgrade. They put an S-bend in the exhaust so that when they get rear-ended, it doesn't break the whole exhaust, it just breaks the rear section, because with 2 bends in it, it pushes it out of the way. If it's a straight pipe, it destroys the whole thing. How clever is that?
Yeah, of course. Well, yeah, when you think about it, if it gets pushed from behind, it's going all the way through,
right
isn't
to
it?
the manifolds. You could be looking at all sorts of damage, couldn't you, up to the front end of the car? So, yeah, just these are the details, particularly in things like a double header. Danny got no time. Kevin Hansen coming around the outside of Sabo. Sabo trying to hold on. Will he have enough room? He can't quite. God, that was close. I wonder if he committed to the throttle a little bit more if he could have done, but yeah, you've got to stay out of trouble as well. Again, double header, 3 qualifiers in a row. We haven't actually seen anyone suffer the kind of catastrophic damage that you know that can't be repaired in between. Okay, yesterday passed them with the exhaust, but you know what I mean. No one's ripped a corner off and only had 40 minutes to put it back on again.
Yeah, they've all been driving very sensibly, haven't they? I mean, you've got to remember we're in a World Championship, aren't we?
Top level, isn't it, to be fair?
It's very much top level, and yeah, all these boys just being sensible.
Bakkerud's lap times are in the 48s now. He's done a 48.6. No one else is on that pace, so Bakkerud is quick here. 49.0 is the quickest. He does a 48.7. So Andreas Bakkerud going really well. He's quicker than Timozyanov, who's currently top of the pile, only by a 10th in terms of outright lap pace, but he looks really good through turn 3. So Bakkerud hoping for an absolutely perfect run here. Going to have to get the joker right. Scheider, Kevin Hansen, Scheider's 4.4 back. He's pretty clear here, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got a really good gap here, hasn't he? Scheider not able to put in the laps. Scheider's not even gone into the 48s.
Here when he rolled off the throttle, just a slightly different engine tone. Me and Dan both panicked and looked at each other in the comms box. It seems okay. Over the jump on the outside in the joker, Andreas Bakkerud aiming for the top time of Timozyanov. Timo will be fairly close, but not close enough to compromise Andreas' run to the line, and it is a 3:23.7. It's enough by 0.3 of a second to go to the top of the table. Timozyanov actually holds on to P2. Oh, Sabo's car Sabo's car with a big problem. Well, we were just talking about big damage in between and whether or not you'd be able to get it done in time for the next session. That's up at the champion hairpin. That's turn 4. More fire extinguishers out of the car as quick as they can. They're asking for more extinguishers, so this is a big problem, Dan.
Yeah, that's not a good sight we want to see, is it?
No, never. There's a lot of smoke inside the car. Look at the inside of the windscreen. They might have set the extinguishers off as well. Watch for the flames if they open the bonnet. Here we go. No, I reckon they're it's just towards the rear. It's under control, but the GRX will be. That's a big ask. How long have they got? Bakkerud, Scheider, Hansen, Christian Sabo with a DNF and work to do for the team to get him back out. Bakkerud top of the table. Q1, he was in 6th, so that's a good result for Bakkerud. Wonder what the Norwegian thinks of that.
Andreas, quickest so far, you've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, very happy that we finally do a race win. First time here in Riga this year, so it's great being back on this track. Fantastic weather, good to see some crowd back. Unfortunately, we don't have so much speed. You know, I try to push everything I have, and unfortunately, this car is doing anything faster at the moment. But we are pushing everything we can to find and adjust. So hopefully, we can come back stronger later on.
The final race of Q2, round 6 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship from Riga in Latvia. Ekström and Larsen teammates on the inside, side by side. Timmy Hansen, in the middle of the grid. Johan, P4, and Niklas Gronholm out in P5. So Timmy, the only driver who hasn't taken new tyres. 2 on the front for Ekström, Larsen, Kristoffersson, 2 on one side for Gronholm. So Gronholm's opting not to stress these tyres that much because they're on the inside of the car.
Interesting.
Yes, scratches beard. Interesting. Hansen got a great start last time, but we know he would have been on newer tyres than he is now. Can he match the Polo again? Can Johan get the whole shot that he needs to try and drag himself up the standings? Ekström and Larsen on the inside surely will give each other a bit of space. Really even on the run to turn 1. Hansen's gone backwards to the tyre. Strategy hasn't paid off there. Kristoffersson down in P4. Timmy going to come around the outside. Can he hold on from Johan? Johan shuts the door on him. Johan gets up to P3. But it is Ekström and Larsen out front. Larsen shuts the door on Kristoffersson, who's early on the gas and right with him. Gronholm down in P5. Has a look to the inside of Hansen, but can't make that work either. So it's Ekström out front. Advantage Ekström.
Yeah, well, advantage KYB Team JC 1 and 2, so they've got control of this now. I think we're going to see Johan go to the Joker lap now. I would not be surprised.
Well, it depends on what Larsen does. But then if Larsen goes in, yeah, he does. I was going to say if Larsen went, it would release him anyway to chase Ekström. So now it's about whether Ekström will respond on the next lap. Dan, come on. What do you think?
Robin's going next lap.
Do you think Robin next lap to cover it off?
Yeah.
Well, they look at the gaps, I guess, won't they? If they think Kristoffersson's eating them alive, which I'm not sure he will, but if they think he is, I reckon they could send both. But make the merge difficult with Larsen, but guarantee Ekström in case Larsen, if Larsen gets edged by Kristoffersson, whoa, will in the dirt for Larsen, he's hanging it out big time. Then Kristoffersson then can hunt Ekström. Gap at the minute back to Kristoffersson is just a smidge over 4 seconds. Timmy Hansen's gone Joker as well. We'll keep an eye on the lap times for you, let you know what we think's going on with tyres. Larsen's been dropped a little bit by Ekström. Ekström goes standard lap, Larsen goes Joker. Dan Rook called it bang on the money. So this is to make life difficult for Kristoffersson. Kristoffersson on the standard lap. Here comes Larsen now. Johan will be desperate to get past Robin. Robin's made a mistake, or has he got a problem? So problem or a mistake for Larsen. Tries to get out and shut off Timmy. It's a problem for Larsen, I think. What's going on there? Yeah, definitely.
Drive shaft, maybe.
Yeah, Larsen's got a problem. So Robin Larsen is out of this in terms of tactics. Now it's Ekström versus Kristoffersson. The gap's down to 3.8. He's taken 2/10 out of him.
Yeah, so he's really now, he's got the gap, hasn't he? He can really push for it, but Ekström now, he's going to respond and he's got to go now.
I think so. You might as well cover off your main rival in the championship. Ekström over the jump, surely going to split left to the Joker lap. 3.9, he's done him by another 10th. Is he going to have the confidence to stay out? You know he will if he wants to. He does. He does. Only people like Ekström, Kristoffersson, Kristoffersson, Hansen, Bakkerud are the guys who would stay out and not cover it off. It's like a confidence thing. I know I'm quick enough to do it, but it's back to 3.7. Is it a mistake?
Potentially, or is Johan just starting to reel him in? We think 3.7 will probably be enough to come off 3.5. What more can he bring down in this session?
He's done it by 2/10 in each of the last two sectors, so Ekström maybe should have gone before. Edoc's fastest lap of the day, 48.190 for Ekström. Kristoffersson dropping a wheel over the dirt. That might cost him a 10. 3.6 is the gap now. Looking to see what it is when Ekström goes into the Joker lap this time round. Ekström won Q1. If he wins Q2, he's in a great position to hold on to top qualifier here, put himself in the best possible position. We don't know what his tyre strategy is through the course of the day. Kristoffersson inside, Ekström outside. Kristoffersson 3.5. Now they switch to the opposite lines. What's Johan going to do on the run to the line? Ekström will surely hold it in tight. On the gas to the line, Ekström wins. And the time is 3:22.1. That's the top of the table as well. So 3:22 straight to the top. That's the fastest. It's faster than yesterday. Ekström beats Kristoffersson only by 0.3 of a second. They are both ultra quick. They both took 2 new tyres for this one. Gronholm third, Timmy Hansen fourth, Larsen. Andreas Bakkerud is P3. That's a great result for him. Timmy is fourth. Fantastic. Ekström wins Q2. Good drive.
That's a Q2 win and a very good Joker strategy.
Good start, and again I could drive clean laps, and it's such a lovely place, this track, and when you have good tires and a good balance of the car and get into the flow, it's just a pure pleasure.
So Ekström on the inside with Larsen. That's pretty even start. See, Hansen has lost out here. There's a bit of contact between him and Larsen. Timmy then goes inside Kristoffersson. Kristoffersson, I don't know if he had a knock from the rear from Gronholm. He then gets Timmy back in turn 2. And then it was strategy. So I mean, look, Ekström's happy, job done, Dan, so it doesn't matter. But like when you losing a couple of tenths here and there, Kristoffersson was pushing really hard. He did drop a wheel off on the dirt on the outside. I don't think that would have made enough of a difference. Larsen, he hits, yeah, but look at that. So Dan's got the old eagle eye on today, hasn't he? Touched the tyres in the Joker, he absolutely did. So that's a mistake from Larsen, hitting the tyres at the apex on the Joker lap. Cost him big time. This was Ekström's Joker. Look at that, trailing the brake right into the apex. He'll have known where Johan is at this point. Johan knows as well that Ekström's going to cover him off. Great fight between our top 2 championship rivals. Fantastic to see that battle continue between Kristoffersson and Ekström, and it is Ekström who is at the top of the table with 2 qualifying session wins. Can he make it a clean sweep? Looking at the gap on the right-hand side, I reckon Ekström's going to take the TQ here. Kristoffersson is second. Bakkerud is in P3. Brilliant for him. Hansen next to him, the championship rivals from last year. Gronholm, Scheider, Larsen, Timmy. And then it's Kevin Hansen, Anton Markman, Reini Snittish and Liam Doran just clinging on. Munich, Sabo's got problems, of course. Is Sabo going to get that car back out for the next session? All to play for, 1 more to go. We've got some great slow motion pictures to look at here in Riga. Bachuska flinging the Clio in, just cleaning the track. These are all from free practice on Saturday morning. That was round 5. Here's a look at Ekström into the hairpin.
Yeah, it's Ekström with a little bit of understeer there through the hairpin. Of course, free practice, the track is a little bit dirty and greasy, so maybe not quite the grip levels they had later on in the event.
You can see the wheel spin as well, Dan, and certainly the dust coming up as he's trying to adjust the throttle. So much power, and it's a long, long run down through this right hand. You've got to be super close in on the arm coat. It's all pretty critical for lap time.
Yeah, very critical. You've got to be super precise through this corner. You can see the drivers always playing with the throttle and the brakes, trying to keep the balance of the car, as we're going to see Kevin Hansen now come through this section.
Through the right-hander in the 208. So close in on the barrier. There is a clean line. There's actually a bit of loose gravel right up against the arm coat because a lot of people are not quite clean enough. And again, Kevin here, this was early on, Dan, and that's not the line he'd be taking during the course of the weekend once the track was clean.
No, so you run that white line you can see in the bottom right picture of your shot. So, yeah, he's not where he wants to be.
Timo Scheider. This is the hairpin after the jump, so you've got to get that squashed. And again, another one where you hug the arm coat. And I think when we watch the quick guys here, they're super patient on the throttle.
Yeah, it's a matter of discipline, trying not to spin those wheels up.
Braking then for the right-hander to head into the standard lap. Again, as close as you dare to the tyre bale on the right-hand side. This is Cyril Raymond in the brand new C3 ERX.
Project E car coming here around the corner. Of course, those guys having to learn to adjust to the power differences in the car, and not too much wheel spin for Cyril there.
No, Cyril been doing a fantastic job along with Yannis Baumanis. 4 Project E cars this weekend. This one, of course, from Citroën Racing and Stard, and looking very impressive indeed in the Frenchman's hands. Liam Doran, the British bomb, over one of the 2 jumps down, standard lap and joker lap, with a very similar jump.
Yeah, both got identical jumps there, both the same incline and decline, as he goes over the jump onto the brakes and tries to hammer that big inside curb.
And Reini Snittish back racing at home in the ES Motorsport Skoda. Just a little squash on the brakes there to keep the air down.
Yeah, you don't want to jump too far with the car. It could unsettle the car, make your entry into the next corner not so great.
And Christian Sabo finally in the Hyundai. Just one qualifying session remains here for round 6 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship, and at the minute it is advantage Mattias Ekström. He won both Q1 and Q2 and has a big points advantage over Johan Kristoffersson in P2. Then it's Bakkerud having a great weekend. Timmy Hansen 4th, Gronholm, Scheider up in 6th, Larsen with that problem in Q2 but with a great result in Q1, still there in 7th. Timziano is 8th. Kevin Hansen, Anton Markland, Reini Snittish in the semis again at home with 1 session to go. Liam Doran just hanging on to a spot as well. But look, Munich, Sabo, Shisharit, they're all really close. Final qualifying session saw Robin Larsen in the first race. Thanks to his issues where he clipped the tyre barrier in the previous session. Larsen on new tyres, desperate to move up the standings and try and bag a better starting position in the semis. Of course, been P2 after Q1 and had dropped down the order. Bachuska and Parsonen getting into each other up at the hairpin. Parsonen retired as a result of that. Larsen was pushing so hard, consistently fast. Great drive. Munich on the inside of Reini Snittish on the way to the first corner, but it was Liam Doran with a little tag. Watch this, full throttle, flick it back the other way. Not many drivers who can pull off a move like that in turn 1. Doran racing all the guys in this same race for a position in the semis. He was P12 but needed desperately to hang on, and he knew that Sabo in a quicker car was likely to overlap him in a later race, so it was all down to whether or not he could win it, and win it he did. The British bomb takes the flag. Race 3, Q3, getting towards the sharp end in terms of qualifying and drivers. Timmy Hansen, Timo Scheider, Kevin Hansen and Anton Markland. Kevin and Anton towards the bottom end of the top 10. Look, Timmy Hansen's gone with new boots now in the final qualifying session. He was 4th, so he's already on a front row. And P6, Timo Scheider. Maybe that's because of the fight with Andreas Bakkerud for Timmy Hansen. Desperate to be up to 3rd, perhaps. Wants to go in semi-1. Semi-1 would give you more time to re-prep between semi and final, bit more time for everything to cool down. That can be critical in terms of temperatures and stuff. Depends if you're going to run the same tyres in both semi and final. Unlikely, I would think, but so much going on. Here we go, Timmy versus Kevin. Timo and Anton, great start. Timmy Hansen on the inside. They've been working on those starts. He's got away with it in the 208 mark and coming around the outside, but Timmy's surely going to hold that. Kevin goes deep. Is that a plan? Kevin Hansen slots into P2. Brilliant tactics from the Hansens.
Yeah, that was fantastic, wasn't it? And Timmy backed it up on the apex of turn 2 to allow Kevin to come around. And
that's planned, isn't it? I'm sure that's a pre-planned move. That was fantastic if it wasn't. If it wasn't, Kevin's bang on it today because he went P6 to P2, didn't he, yesterday in semi-final, I think it was. No, final maybe. It was, yeah. Both of them flying the 208 hard. Scheider will try to go with them. Timo's having another great weekend in P6. goes Joker straight away. So Timo Scheider's going Joker ahead of Markland, 0.8 between them. Where's Markland? Yeah, Markland's down in P10. So Kevin here wants to drag himself up a row as well, don't you? If you're inside the top 8, you're row 2, basically. So 1 to 4 is row 1, 5 to 8 is row 2, and then 9 to 12 is row 3. Gotta be front 2 rows you want to win here. For me, it's front row, definitely. And that Timmy, this is kind of him versus Bakkerud.
Yeah, so Timmy's on the charge here to try and chase down Andreas. Let's have a look at his laps. First lap, 48.8 for Timmy, 49.3 for Kevin. It all depends what Andreas can do in the final race, of course. I think Andreas, is fair to say, probably in a bit more of a difficult race.
Yeah, 5 drivers for a start. Ekström, Kristoffersson inside him. Sébastien and Gronholm too. Yeah, we'll see. Bakkerud's already said he's driving the Megane as fast as he can drive it. We know they've been working on the 208, and in terms of ultimate pace, we said there are 5/10 off. 48.3 is where they need to be, and that's where they are. 48.3 from Timmy Hansen. Just as I say that, 48.5 from Kevin Hansen. The pace is in the car. It is there. They've got to drag it out every lap if they want to match the cars of Ekström and Kristoffersson. They're going to have to do it on every lap. Yeah,
and that's a very strong ask, isn't it, to make the ideal lap every lap, especially with in rallycross, not like a circuit where the conditions are staying the same every lap. The tracks are differing every lap for rallycross, so it's quite a hard thing to be able to do.
Timmy's just edged his brother Kevin by a couple of tenths again. You can see the gap went up from 0.8 to 1, just pulling away a little tiny bit between them. They're in the same cars, remember. Very similar tyre strategy it seems today, but it was a brilliant move at the first corner, it really was. Scheider is 2.6 off the back, only 2.5 off the back of Markland now, so Scheider I think is going to get Markland unless Anton puts in a great lap now. Timmy continues to lead, 1.1, he takes another 10th off. So 48.8, 48.3, 48.5. The lap times are there. Timmy Hansen aiming for third in the general standings here to take another point and put himself in semi-final 1, likely alongside Ekström, which will be exciting into the first corner. Kevin just wants to get up ahead of P9. If he's ahead of P9, he's on row 2. He could, in theory, jump a few people and get himself right up there. Through the right and the left, Timmy looked a little bit deep. 322.3 is Larsson's time. We know that was good. This looks good too. 322.7, not good enough to beat Larsson, but it is a very quick time. So Timmy Hansen and Kevin Hansen. Does Kevin beat Larsson? Sorry, no, Larsson ahead. I'm just thinking, they P2 and P3? Yes, they are, P2 and P3 overall. So Hansen brother 1-2. Timo Scheider did get Markland after the Jokers played out. Scheider drops into 5th, Markland into 7th, Doran is 6th. So there's more drivers in between Liam and the people he was fighting for a place in the semis. Larsson at the top of the table, how far up can he get? And same for Kevin Hansen. They were 7th and 9th before this.
Just watch the start here. So Kevin Hansen, he knows he's already lost it. He backs right out of it, tucks up in behind his brother, and then along the outside of his brother. Timmy backs it up a little bit. Scheider not able to get the drive out. Kevin Hansen around the outside. Thank you very much.
That's really, really clever. I can't help thinking it's pre-planned. Your thoughts? I know you have to react. You can make a plan and it can go wrong, but obviously when you occupy the slot Timmy did, although Timmy's not going to give up anything for Kevin, he'll only be focused on his own result, but either way,
it's hard to do at a rallycross start. It'd be interesting to know if Neil asks him in his interview now if they had a plan.
Timmy, another good race win, and it looked like teamwork with Kevin in turn 1.
This run was really good. From start to finish, I did absolutely everything I could, but just right now we don't have the performance and the pace as the Audi. I think Larsson is still fastest, correct? And then we'll see how far he gets us through this one. But I had 4 new tires. I did everything on that run. The run was close to perfect, but we just not fast enough. The launch is better, and it's another race win. But I want more than this, so we'll keep working, we'll keep fighting.
Final race of qualifying for round 6 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. Mattias Ekström, Johan Kristoffersson, Andreas Bakkerud, Timmy Timosjanov and Niklas Gronholm. Gronholm, we said it, didn't we? He's in P5. He wants a front row start in the semi, so they've put new boots on that car now. Timosjanov is on used tyres, Bakkerud too. Only one new tyre for Kristoffersson. No new tyres for Ekström.
I think Robin gave that one away earlier, didn't he?
Yeah, they're saving it. We said we called it, and it's pretty much bang on the money. Really important for Gronholm to beat Bakkerud if he wants to be up there. Bakkerud, of course, has got the time of Hansen to aim for. They were equal on points before this. Ekström looking to take his first TQ of the year. Such an even start. You can't call that one. Timosjanov maybe slightly ahead. Can't get it from there. Surely Bakkerud gets a bit of contact. That's a disaster for him. Whole shot for Kristoffersson. Ekström going with him. Gronholm to the inside of Ekström, going to be outside. Bakkerud can't get through. Bakkerud slots into P4. So Gronholm has got past Bakkerud. Kristoffersson almost drops it in turn 3. Super sideways in the polo. Ekström's with him, and Ekström's not going to be worried about following Kristoffersson home in this. He's going to get the TQ if he does. But Gronholm has got past Bakkerud, and that's key for Gronholm to maybe move up onto the front row. Yeah, and Gronholm's going to want to get in front of these two as well. He's on new boots. He doesn't want to waste it, does he? He's going to probably go Joker lap now, I'd say. Or he doesn't. Bakkerud does. But that's good for Gronholm, isn't it? Because if he goes on the next lap to cover off Bakkerud, he's going to have only got Timosjanov behind him. They'll make space for him, I think. Yeah, I think they will too. Look at the traction that new tyres makes a difference. He's all over the back of Ekström. Kristoffersson's only got one new tyre. I think it's fair to say the Polo is really good on used tyres, but it's about new tyres. This is about who of these drivers have saved it for the semis and the final. And Ekström, look at the difference. You can tell, Dan, they're just hanging it out. He's looking up the inside, can't find a way through. Gronholm's got to go Joker. Yeah, he has to, 100%. He's losing time, isn't he? But hopefully he's not dropping back into the clutches of Bakkerud. It just depends what happens with Timosjanov. They don't want to hold Gronholm up with Timmy. 3.8 seconds is the gap between Gronholm and Bakkerud. Gronholm must go now, he does. Niklas Gronholm goes Joker. Pull that car into the apex, watching for Timmer. Could be close to the merge, but I think they'll keep Timmer off him, surely. Timmer's going to be there first, isn't he? Gronholm's just got to beat Bakkerud, and then I reckon they'll send Timmer on the next lap anyway. Yeah, Timmer's got nothing to lose. He's not fighting for a position in this race, unfortunately. He's dropped back a bit far. Edoc's fastest lap of the day, 48.112. Johan Kristoffersson on used tyres. He's only got one new boot on that, Dan, and he's able to do those lap times. Yeah, that's only a tiny bit quicker than Robin Larsson was, and he was on new tyres. Yeah, danger for the others. Kristoffersson is showing everyone here just how quick he is. Look at the gap, back to Ekström, 1.8. You can't panic now, though, and Ekström's not the panicking type. He'll just suck it up here, it doesn't matter. He goes Joker, so he's covering off now, I think, Gronholm behind him. Gronholm coming through on the standard lap. Ekström over the jump. Has he done enough or not? Niklas has been on a big push on this lap. He's going to be close to the merge. He'll have more traction. Niklas will. Going to have to go round the outside. Ekström's so clever. He's just backed it up at the apex. No way through. Yeah, he was wise to that, wasn't he? And he made the car a lot wider than what it actually is. Gronholm had nowhere to go. Bakkerud's car has survived all the contact at the start of the race. He said himself earlier in this season he doesn't like getting into contact. They know the chassis is quick, but it's maybe not so good in contact. A big push through there from Niklas, just giving back a little bit of what he got a couple of weeks ago in Kumula. Yeah, he's going to be a bit frustrated, isn't he? He wasn't able to make the most of these tyres. He's definitely looking quicker than Ekström. I don't know if maybe he could match Kristoffersson. He's how far behind Bakkerud? He's 2 points behind Bakkerud. He needs a car to slot into the timesheets between him and Andreas is right there with him. Kristoffersson absolutely miles in front on used tyres. It's ominous for everyone in the semis. Ekström going to get P2, and with that take the TQ. Kristoffersson with a 322.4, and that's just behind Larsson. Larsson wins the session. So Larsson wins the session on his new tyres. Johan Kristoffersson takes it from Ekström, Gronholm, Bakkerud and Timosjanov. Robin Larsson wins Q3, and I'm pretty sure that's going to mean that Larsson is only the 4th person to win a qualifying session this year. Mattias Ekström down in 6th place, Gronholm in 7th, so really interesting to see what that does to the overall standings. Has Kristoffersson managed? He's surely not managed to take it off Ekström. I think he might have done. There's enough people in between. How many points is the difference? We'll figure it out in a minute. Here we go. I reckon he's just held on. We'll see. contact there for Bakkerud. So I'm surprised that didn't damage the car, just because we know that it's a not so great in contact. Gronholm, he would have been gutted when he not to have found a way through.
Yeah, he looked like he had ultimate pace over Ekström there, just couldn't quite do it. You can see he's all over the back of him, decides to go to the joke lap, and then it was Ekström responding the lap after, which just shot the opportunity for Gronholm.
Listen to the RPM on the Polo as he flies the jump. This is Ekström's just so clever. He just rolls off the throttle a tiny bit to keep the car from running too wide. Doesn't give Gronholm the option for under or over. Kristoffersson around the last corner, smoking the tyres, taking the flag. Where's it going to see him in the standings?
Johan, you did exactly what you wanted to do. How was it?
Yeah, it was good. I lost a little bit too much time in the first two corners. Obviously, Mattias didn't have to struggle too much. He had 100 points already, so I knew that, and I could break a bit later into T1. Had a good start. From there on, I tried to push with my tires, but it was just not enough to beat Robin with that time. But yeah, anyway, I think that should be a front row for the semi-final too. And yeah, let's see who is beside us, but probably Timmy, we'll see.
Qualifying over for round 6. Let's have a look at where they are overall. Ekström does hold on. Kristoffersson closed the gap, but Larsen winning the session meant that Kristoffersson didn't make up quite as many points. Even if he'd won it, it wouldn't have been quite enough. So Ekström takes his first TQ of the year. 4 went to Kristoffersson, 1 yesterday to Gronholm. Kristoffersson beaten again today, this time by Ekström, but the pace he showed in this session, that's pretty ominous for everyone, I think, when we come to semi-final time. Larsen is up onto the front row thanks to winning that session. It's Ekström Larsen in semi-final number 1. Timmy Hansen will be P4. He beat Bakkerud, of course, but it's Gronholm who's in 5th. So Gronholm and Bakkerud on a road to start with Hansen and Scheider, who's made it in at the bottom. Timizyanov, Markland, Sabo did leapfrog Doran, and Doran held on. He's in the semis. Woo! Qualifying done for World. We've had semi-finals for the European Rallycross Championship, and we've just got the final to go. Round 2 of the European Rallycross Championship for supercars from Riga in Latvia. Pole position, the championship leader, Oliver Eriksson. Alongside him, Sondre Evjen down in 6th in the standings, but has been super quick all weekend. JB de Borg is on the inside of row 2. He's the man who is now just 6 points behind Oliver Eriksson. Ben-Philip Gundersen had that fantastic battle with Eriksson in the semis. Thomas Kurai and Andrea de Borg bringing up the rear. So both the de Borg brothers in. Not really able to help each other from where they are. De Borg's grid position, JB de Borg's grid position, depends what happens in front of him. In theory, if he can stop Gundersen getting around his outside into turn 2, he can definitely hold on to P3. Anything can happen. When you've got a corner left and a corner right, or vice versa, like here, like Lohéac in the first couple of corners, you can't call what's going to happen on the exit. Up inside Evjen already, going to move alongside. Evjen's got nowhere to go. JB de Borg late on the brakes. Evjen though holding on for the inside line. De Borg sideways. Up the inside of him goes Ben-Philip Gundersen, takes a place back. Kurai trying to get alongside. Andrea de Borg drops down to the back of the pack. Kurai slots into P4. JB de Borg with a brilliant start, but then lost out in the scrap into turn 1.
Yeah, everyone in front of him had to get their elbows out, didn't they? Sondre Evjen again, not a very good start. He didn't get a very good start in his semi-final either, but this time around still having to muscle it through turns 1 and turns 2. But Ben-Philip Gundersen as well, pushing his way up there. We're going to see a 4-way battle now, I think.
Eriksson and de Borg, of course, championship fighters. JB de Borg has gone into the joke. In fact, both the de Borgs have gone joker on lap 1. So JB then is going to hope to smash the laps in. And I think Eriksson will want the win here, won't he? So Eriksson's unlikely to go joker when he's in this close fight with Evjen. JB de Borg might have just pulled off a bit of a masterstroke here. He's going to hope that Eriksson and his spotters decide to keep him out and in the fight with with Evjen and maybe Gundersen too. They hold each other up enough and de Borg can close that gap. Watch the plus 4.7 on JB de Borg, and it goes up a tenth in fact, but he's got to try and close that down and hope that these guys have a fight rather than joker.
And it depends what happens with Kurai as well. If he's catching up to the back of Kurai, he's got 1.3 there now. Of course, 6 laps. They've got more options of when they do their joker lap.
Yeah, and Karai might hold on, might he? Oh, Evshen on 2 wheels! How did he hold on to that? Gundersen trying to find a way up the inside. Evshen came within an ace of binning the Polo. Just about holds on to it. Gundersen now will be all over the back of him. Going to try and look up the inside into turn 2. He goes deep on the brakes. Evshen's got it covered. Bit of tyre smoke from the bodywork. That's released Ollie Eriksson out front just a little bit. Oh, that was close. He's clipped the barrier on the inside, hasn't he, Dan? Because the front wing's gone as well.
Yeah, big damage there. Hopefully nothing to the actual car, but yeah, that was a close one.
Yeah. Eriksson with 1.5, De Boerg still 4.8 off the bat. For me, De Boerg's not got the outright pace here, and he's now behind Karai anyway. Unless Karai jokers immediately, I'd almost be tempted to send Eriksson. You know, they don't. Eriksson stays out. So does Evshen and Gundersen. If you were Gundersen, would you have gone then, or has he not got enough
space? De Boerg's up the back of Karai.
Yeah.
So De Boerg now being held up for at least a lap now because Karai hasn't gone to the joker.
He's got to find a way through, hasn't he? Get past him. He's going to have a look at the inside line here, trying to find the traction, but almost wonder if he needs to go deep into that last corner, as we saw Liam doing, and try to get the exit speed to find a run into turn 1. But it's a brave move because whoever you're passing is not going to be expecting you to try there.
No, it's a very hard place to try and pass. Well, the whole track is hard, isn't it? So I think wherever you're going to go, you're going to be catching somebody by surprise. But De Boerg all over the back of him now. This is really costing him. The gap back from Eriksson to De Boerg 5.3 now.
Gone up by half a second. Karai's now defensive as well, which means he's even slower. And JB De Boerg, and it's Gundersen, and they're all squashed in between the Arco. They find a way through. De Boerg pushes his brother through. Karai's car is dead on the inside. They literally climbed over him. Gundersen was sitting there sideways. The road was pretty much blocked. Karai got caught up in that. Both the De Boerg brothers went through the gap. Gundersen goes joker now to respond, but he's going to drop behind them, and that's actually helped JB De Boerg out because De Boerg now is closer in terms of points than he was before.
Yeah, but now he's dropped so far back behind Evshen, look, 9.2.
He's never going to get him, is he? But it's 1 championship point at least that Gundersen's given away. Do you reckon Gundersen dropped it on the brakes?
Either that or maybe he was battling with Sondre Evshen and we missed it out of shot, but yeah, that was a bit of a car park. That was like the M25.
It was proper stop, wasn't it? That was going absolutely nowhere fast, and Karai's got going again. Karai has passed the start-finish line, so he's got his Audi moving again. Joker lap this time for Evshen. He's a little bit sideways on the rotation on the way in, but he was only 0.6 back. He's got a lap now to get the most amazing lap time he possibly can. We saw him do a great job in the previous session, didn't we? Can he do it again here and edge Eriksson for the win in Latvia?
I just don't want him to be going under too much pressure. We've seen him overdrive that car quite a few times, make silly little mistakes. So if he just keeps it composed, he should be all right.
Think they'll be on the radio to him? Do you think they'll be on the radio to Evshen saying keep it calm? I mean, they'll be on the radio to Eriksson too. 3.6. It's come down by 1/10. I don't think it's going to be enough though.
No, but it's going to be close on the merge, isn't it? Evshen's going to have the better run off the final corner now. It's the last lap.
So Eriksson has to go into the joker lap this time round. He's got to keep it tight. The gap was 3.5. He heads in now. How close is Evshen? It's 3.6. Eriksson's nicked a 10th back out of it. Sondre Evshen on the inside almost rolled the car earlier. Is he going to be close enough to take a European win here in Latvia? Eriksson on the inside line will go defensive. Evshen's going to tidy up on the inside, fires it up, but Eriksson takes his 2nd win of the year. Ollie Eriksson extends his championship lead. Fantastic performance from him, fighting back after a rough day one. Sondre Evshen saving the car from a roll. And JB De Boerg coming back to P3 after being held up by Karai. And then everybody driving through a gap that was not wide enough for a car. But he did it, and look, yeah, it means a lot to Ollie. You can see the pressure in Eriksson in the interviews. He's happy with the wins, but there you go, straight over, to be fair, for a congratulations. He enjoyed the battle. The relief comes for Ollie at the end of a weekend. When he's in the fight, it's very tight for him. 8 championship points. Sondre Evshen is in P2, gets 5. JB De Boerg with 4, so that's 4 points more for Eriksson. I think the lead was 6 coming in. Can't remember what happened in the semi-finals, but he's extended the lead during the course of the weekend, added his 2 wins from 2 events in the European Championship for Oliver Eriksson. Off the start, De Boerg mega start, and Evshen realises he's there and can't shut the door, look. But he just goes around the outside of him and holds on for the inside. You see JB actually flick the car, kind of like Liam did, but unfortunately lost too much traction on the exit, and Gundersen got through. I wonder if we'll see what happened to Gundersen later in the race.
I'm not sure if we will, because obviously our cameras were focusing on the battle behind there, so hopefully we'll catch something, but there's the nearly roll. Oh, I bet a few things tensed up then, didn't they?
Got the worst thing about that for him is that without that, I think he could have taken the win here.
Yeah.
I think Ekström could have taken the win without mistakes. So at this point, Gundersen's parked. Yeah, Karai comes round, tries to go outside or inside, and look at the gap. It's not big enough. Andrea basically pushes JB through. Otherwise, I think he'd been stuck between the wall and Karai.
I've had Dodgem sessions like that.
It was proper. Oh, Gundersen hanging it out. But Ben Phillips super quick. He hasn't gone his way today. Let's see if he made a mistake and dropped it on his own. But Ollie Eriksson did a good job under pressure. Sondre Evjen with a little mistake putting the car up on two wheels. Maybe meant that he couldn't quite get it done. But he's got another event to go. Evjen maybe take a win later this year, or perhaps Eriksson can win all three. But at the minute, he's the only man to have won a round of the European Championship this year.
So Oliver Eriksson, actually the final itself was relatively straightforward, but that is one battle-scarred car.
It's been such a hard-fought weekend, man. It's from the bad luck yesterday to all the issues we had today, and I have to apologize for the semi there. I had big issues with the car, so I had to get back because we had no time in between. So yeah, I was completely sure a rear wheel tire had collapsed, because I lost the rear wheel drive at times in the semi at the end there. But we couldn't find anything wrong, and then it hit me in the pre-grid here. Oh, it's probably the release. So the center release gets too hot or something, I don't know. But yeah, I drove with it the whole final, just trying to expect when it went front-wheel drive instead of four-wheel drive. So I don't know, I think I drove smoother, so it might be a good thing.
Congratulations, another win.
Thank you very much.
Take a look at the championship standings after round 2 of the European Rallycross Championship for Supercar. Ollie Eriksson now has a lead of 11 points. He came here with a lead of 7. So De Bourg took one back off him earlier on, and then it went back the other way come the final. So Eriksson has extended it. Evjen is in P3. He was down in P6. Ben Philip Gundersen is in 4th, stays in 4th. They're still close enough. There's 30 points up for grabs. So basically, at the minute, plenty of people who can still win. But I think it's going to be a fight between JB De Bourg and Eriksson, and it's very much advantage Eriksson. Semi-final time in Latvia for the World Rallycross Championship, round 6 of the 2020 season. We've got a scrap on our hands. Tyre strategy playing out. Yesterday, Kristoffersson edged them all, having 5 new tyres ready for the semis, but I reckon there's a few people out there with that many boots, maybe even a few more. We're going to wait and see. Neil is with Liam Doran.
It's great to see you in the semi-final again. Now, we noticed in qualifying 3 you had an interesting but fast wide line on this final corner. Was that data-driven?
I could probably claim all gratitude for doing that, but the truth of the matter is the car was broken. We had no anti-lag because the valve got stuck, so the car was really unresponsive, like flat, and so I was trying to do everything I could to keep as much corner speed as possible so that I didn't have to gain it back at the exit of the corner, and actually found time. So by accident, I found a line that worked better for me, so I'm going to try and see what I can do now with the combination of the car working and the line, so we'll see.
Also, we saw an amazing save by you in the start of that race in turn 1.
That wasn't a save. Don't you got that? It was planned from the very start. No, yeah, I mean, I guess I knew it wasn't going to go cleanly. Obviously, I knew I had no choice either. But to be honest, in the car, it felt quite clean. It felt quite smooth. But obviously, I've looked back after, and it looked quite dramatic. So, yeah, I took it, I guess. Yeah, happy it worked out.
Well done, Liam. Good luck in the semi. We'll go straight to Andreas Bakkerud, who's just here, teammate. Andreas, what are you looking forward to in the semi?
You completely forgot to ask Liam what his plans are for the semi-final, because after his plans and our meeting, I will never have a rear end of the car left, you know. So he's going all in, same as I. So let's see what happens.
Okay, good luck, guys.
Thank you.
honest as ever from Liam Doran, and interesting the momentum thing. That's an RX2 thing, isn't it? If they don't have the response in the same way when they're working, you know, they're not a turbo car, so you maintain that momentum, and that's what he did with that line.
Yeah, so making the corner that bit wider on the way in means he can carry that little bit more speed on the way out, but yeah, it was a fantastic job by him, recognising the issue as well and adapting his driving to it.
Yeah, now he thinks he's found a faster line. Interesting to see. You've got to be careful, obviously, not to open the door there to the cars behind you. But I still think potentially there's a great exit speed from that last corner, particularly if there's a merge. We're giving you options on your line. If you're coming from further back and further out, you can choose whether you go wide or tight. So lots of tactical stuff going on. Everybody desperate to try and take the win. Stay with us. Who's going to get round 6? Biķernieki circuit, Riga in Latvia. We are here for the closing stages of round 6 of the 2020 FIA World Rallycross Championship. My name's Andrew Coley. Joining me on commentary, Dan Rook. Neil Cole is reporting from the pre-grid and the paddock. We, of course, had a race here yesterday for round 5. 3 double headers to kick off the season with World RX, Sweden, Finland. This is the first time here, Riga in Latvia, that we've seen any fans in the grandstand. They're doing brilliant here with the worldwide battle against COVID-19, and it's just so nice to see people smiling and enjoying the racing. And it's been a big tactical battle as well as a battle on on track today. This is the standings at the end of qualifying. 3 rounds of qualifying, of course, because it was a double header. It was Ekström who took the TQ spot. He won Q1 and Q2, and in fact it was his teammate Robin Larsson who won Q3 to move himself up to 3rd after a bit of a shocker in Q2. He's used some extra tyres to get himself up on the front row with Ekström. Kristoffersson, we know, has got a few boots left. He had 5 yesterday when he got to the semis. Timmy Hansen is in 4th. You then got Nyirád, Andreas Bakkerud, Kevin Hansen, Timo Scheider, Timmy, Markland, Sabo and Doran. That is the split left and right. So it's odds to semi-1 and evens to semi-2. Johan Kristoffersson is on pole again in semi-2. We had a quick chat with him yesterday, and Neil caught up with him earlier about his tactics ahead of this one.
Johan, yesterday you won from pole in semi-final 2, so I guess today the plan is to execute exactly the same strategy.
Well, yeah, it's that's always the plan, to try to win as many heats as you can. We had a quite tough day today. We didn't have the best start of the day, but the day is getting better and better because Mattias Ekström seems to be our tire guy nowadays, having more going in the background checking. But I think we have a quite aggressive tire strategy for the semi-final and final. Let's see how it plays out.
Give us the people at home an idea of just how crucial the tyres have been here this weekend and why.
Well, I mean, it looks like the tyres are doing almost up to half a second a lap. And I mean, half a second a lap, to make a car half a second a lap quicker takes a lot. And just to put new tyres is easy. So, but you want to be fast with used tyres. So, yeah, start is very, very crucial here. If you are behind, you cannot get used of your new tyres. So it's really tricky as well because the joker lap is quite late on the lap. So you want to make that advantage with your new tire straight away from turn 2. It is tricky, but it's also quite fun. It's another dimension of rallycross. I mean, this track doesn't have the deep gravel and other spectacular stuff that other rallycross tracks has, but it has the tire game, and I like that.
Well, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic lineup for the semi-finals here in Riga for round 6 of the World Rallycross Championship. Here it is, semi-1. Teammates Mattias Ekström and Robin Larsson on the front row for KYB Team JC. 2 new boots on the front of each of those cars. Ekström has to be on pole in the final if he wants to beat Kristoffersson. Nyirád Gronholm in P3. New tyres on the front of his Hyundai. Old tyres for Kevin Hansen. And then at the back of the grid, we've got Timmy and Christian Sabo. So all 3 of the Hyundais in this one. Not really a lot they can do tactically with the 2 cars on the back of the grid, other than, of course, allow Gronholm to joker early if he needs to drop himself out of traffic. Kevin Hansen on the outside there. Could be a danger man to the front row. Ekström and Larsson will 100% have a plan, but that can go out the window if the teammate gets a better start. Great start, Ekström on the front row. Kevin moves across in behind Larsson. Ekström got it covered off. Gronholm's up the inside, gets a push from behind. Gronholm sideways. Larsson inside. Niklas Gronholm. Gronholm maybe gets another nudge in the side. He's on the inside line now on the run up to turn 2, turn 3. Kevin Hansen shut the door on Timmerjanov. And Ekström has checked out front with Larsson as his rear gunner. Perfect start for KYB Team JC.
That's exactly what they would have wanted, wasn't it? But poor Niklas there getting bashed about quite a little bit through those first couple of corners. Be interesting to see what pace he has now compared to Larsson, because he looked quite racy in the qualifying sessions but didn't quite work out with him with the traffic. What is he going to do with his joker strategy? Straight
in goes Kevin Hansen. I wondered whether or not Niklas would go. When you're in P3, you've got that spot booked in the final, and that's almost as important, you know, as anything else here. Whether or not he can beat one of the cars in front of him, I don't know if Kevin will have the pace. We just heard from Kristoffersson a moment ago that the tyres can be worth 0.5 a lap, Dan. We know Kevin's on older tyres, but that Kevin's now in clear air at the back.
Yeah, exactly, and there's probably not much of a risk of him catching up the two guys in front of him too soon either, because we're in semi-final time now. It's the quicker boys out on track, so he's going to have a bit more time to build the gap down.
Ekström's doing 48.7. Larsson is on a 49.9, so 1.2 off the back immediately. You can see that on the timer screen at the top of your screen. Where is Gronholm going to go? I thought he might go joker there. He went off to the left. Gronholm looks to have more pace than Larsson, but is he going to lose time to Kevin Hansen? 4.9 back at the moment. What is it then? Not much, is it? It's going to be close.
It's at 3.2. That's pretty much the what we've worked out to be what they can get away with, isn't it, for the joker lap? But Gronholm is looking really racy compared to Larsson here. I think he's got more pace.
Okay, this is definitely going to be close. 3.1 seconds between Gronholm and Kevin Hansen as Larsson drops a wheel on the outside. Gronholm too, they're pushing really hard. I'm trying to figure out, we're watching to see what the gap is, whether or not, of course, Kevin gets up to the back. In theory, Sabo could back Kevin up, but that's sacrificing his run if he does that, and Kevin's miles away, so he can't. They've got to watch Kevin Hansen's split times here and see whether or not he's closing them down. At the minute, it looks to have gone up. Now back down to 3.2. Gronholm goes. So Gronholm was gone. The gap was going up and down to Kevin Hansen behind him by a tenth at a time. He was in traffic if he can get out in front of Kevin. He's only got his teammates in front. Kevin Hansen, though, he's really quick here. Going to try and get back underneath Gronholm. Gronholm holds the inside line. Tactically brilliant from Gronholm and the GRX squad. Kevin has to give best in the positions there. That was really tightly done by Niklas.
Very tidy, wasn't it? And those two haven't lost too much time either now. So if Niklas has more speed than Robin Larsson, he can take Kevin with him, and maybe the pair of them can leapfrog him.
I wonder if Kevin's going to have the pace now. We know Gronholm, of course, was stuck up behind, wasn't he, behind Larsson? I think he had more pace, and if he's got a little bit of clear air, I wonder if we'll see him gap Kevin Hansen behind. But let's see, Kevin's a pro. He might be able to go with him on the old boots. Now he's in with Sabo. They have to send Sabo for me to give Gronholm a chance.
Yeah, and he's gone. There we go. So that was exactly what they needed to do. He didn't get held up too much there. It was only one corner. He was kind of with him, so that's a good job by them. What's the gap back to Larsson now? We're going to see as Gronholm comes across the line. Kevin Hansen's going with him.
Look at the difference in line through there as well. Gronholm, not quite the Liam line that we were talking about earlier on, but they're taking a different line through. They'll send Timmerjanov on this lap. I'm absolutely certain of that. So Larsson back to Gronholm at the minute is, what, 3.6-ish, isn't it? I wonder if that's going to come down. It does. It does. So it's coming down. So Gronholm is closing down the gap on Larsson.
Will they send Larsson as well?
I think they might. I think you send Larsson now to protect the second row in the final. That's exactly what I think you would do. Ekström goes standard lap. Where does Robin Larsson go behind him? Larsson's gone joker, so Larsson goes into the joker. We thought they'd do that. They haven't sent Timmerjanov. Timmer maybe they can use with Larsson here, but Niklas not closing the gap down to him too quickly, and I think Robin's got enough speed here to hold on to the position. He has. Around the outside goes Timmer. Niklas closing down on the back of Larsson, but again, tactically great stuff.
And he was very sensible there as well, not to get involved with Timmerjanov, because of course Timmerjanov hasn't jokered yet, so he's going to leapfrog him when he goes for his joker. He could have tried to attack him on the run out of the corner, but he didn't. He kept it sensible.
Yeah, Timmer's going to go, I'm afraid. He hasn't got the pace here, so it's about whether or not Kevin Hansen can make a pass on either of these guys in front. Gronholm's got quite a job on here. He's got to keep an eye on Larsson's pace in front of him, see if he can find a gap. You go one row up and you're doubling your chances of winning in the final. And Gronholm's one of the guys who's got the pace. A little nudge there in the back. Into the joker lap goes Ekström. Timosjanov's gone as well. Mattias Ekström with an absolutely brilliant performance. 2 new tyres on the front of the Audi. What's he got left for the final? I reckon he's got tyres. Gonna take the win in semi-1. Kevin Hansen runs wide, can't get there. Larsson and Gronholm go through. Kevin Hansen just misses out. Brilliant job, though, by him on used tyres in P4. But Ekström with a masterful performance. 4 laps in the 48, 1 just above 49. There it is. Ekström takes the win, and going from TQ to win semi-1 will mean he is on pole in the final. If Kristoffersson wins semi-2, he'll be on the outside. Larsson is in P2, so he's got a rear gunner as well. Not going to need to worry about the brakes into turn 1. And then Niklas Gronholm going through in the Hyundai to row 3. Kevin Hansen, Timothy Timosjanov, Christian Solberg put up a good fight, but yeah, great stuff by Ekström. So watch the start. We know Ekström had 2 boots on the front, as did Larsson. So they've only put 2 on it here. I suppose if you know you've got your teammate alongside, I don't think there was any chance of Larsson taking the whole shot there, because they know, you've got to be alongside Kristoffersson at least to stand a chance of beating him.
Yeah, and well, for me, Ekström got the slightly better start there as well, didn't he? They both got the same reaction time, but he just had a better run out into the first corner.
Yeah, brilliant job. Ekström, 2 new tyres on. I reckon he's got a few left. He's going to try and take the fight to Kristoffersson.
Mattias, that was the perfect semi-final.
Yeah, I had a good start and got a little hit into turn 1, but after this it was a clean run, so I was just trying to get into my rhythm to be ready for the final, because now it's where the big action starts, so happy also that Robin is second.
Thank you.
Ekström keen to get back to the paddock, totally understand that. Job done. Semi-1, bit more time to re-prep the car, giving himself the absolute best opportunity possible. Just comes down to who has got new tyres left for the final. We're going to see soon. Beautiful day again in Biķernieki. No rain this year. We have seen rain some years, let's say. I think most years. Good track either way. It's not somewhere that gets ultra slippery in the wet. It's still quite abrasive out the back. Tarmac can end up getting a bit dirty, obviously, if it rains, but there is no doubt. Look at that skyline. You think this is going to rain? If it rains, I'll eat my hat. I don't have one, as usual. Ekström's start looked really good. Where does he get hit from behind? So I wondered if Gronholm... You can't see, can you? It was a bit of a bundle in the background, and Larsson didn't hold these guys up, but it's perfect situation. Everybody went defensive on the brakes into turn 3.
Yeah, you kind of got to, haven't you? That's the next place where everybody's going to lunge whilst they're all close together. You wait a lap to try and lunge at someone, you're probably going to be a bit too far behind, so it's always crucial off the start, isn't it?
There were places where I felt that Gronholm had more pace than Larsson, but having to do things like this, keep the door shut on Kevin, you probably lost a couple of tenths there compared to your standard line, but if you took your standard line, Kevin would have undercut him. So I don't know whether or not he could have got Larsson. And of course, we don't know who's got new tyres left between them. It's about the front row, isn't it, really?
I think so, yeah.
It is about the front row and who's got what boots left. So I was in the paddock, in the lunch break, if you want to call it that, while you guys are watching the first hour of the show, if you're watching it on broadcast TV rather than the stream. And there were 5 new tyres sitting out the back of Kristoffersson's area. We know that he had 5 yesterday and 3 used lying on the floor. But I think Ekström's guys they've been really aggressive with the tyre strategy today. I mean, Kristoffersson said that he was being aggressive, but we know this morning they didn't even do a single warm-up lap.
Yeah, so they just trying to get every little bit of life out of all the tyres they've got, aren't they?
Yeah, because of this gravel surface.
Yeah, you can see how well scrubbed in it is, but also it's starting to get a little bit rough as well, the middle of this corner.
Yeah, there's one bump, isn't there, down underneath the arm coat from where we are. Can't see quite where it is. I thought it was the transition from tarmac to gravel. I don't think it is, actually. I reckon it's just literally at the bottom of the arm cut of this shot. There are the fans in the stand. Lucky them. A bit more normality in Latvia than in most places I've been this year, and I appreciate we're very lucky to have been anywhere this year. Yeah, hold tight. We can get back to these kind of things. You can get back to coming watching rallycross events. I know the fans who are here are really grateful for being here. So great to see them back. They're being treated to a bit of a battle here. Semi-final 2 is coming up next. There's a little VIP area, socially distanced for those guys, look. No masks in there either because they're doing so well in Riga with the numbers. More entertainment to come for these as well. Second semi-final in Riga for round 6 is ready to go. Here's the lineup. On the front row, Johan Kristoffersson, the winner yesterday, won from pole in semi-2 yesterday. He's only got 1 tyre on the car. That means he's saving boots for the final, but he's going to need to win it. Timmy Hansen's had some good starts today. The Peugeot's been better. He beat the Polo once today. Can he do it again? Bakkerud and Scheider are chucking the tyres at the car now in the hopes of making it through to the final. And at the back, you've got Anton Markland and Liam Dora. And again, 3 tyres on Liam's car. Liam made that incredible move around the outside earlier. I think that's a bit of a big ask here, but you can't count against a move like that from Liam. Who's going to be on the front row with Mattias Ekström? Ekström's going to have the pole. He won the first 2 qualifying sessions today and pretty much guaranteed himself top qualifier. Having won semi-1, he gets pole, so whoever wins semi-2 will be on the front row with him. It's Hansen versus Kristoffersson, the current world champion versus the double world champion, 17-18. Great start by Kristoffersson. Hansen moves across, tries to shut the door on him. Is he going to try and go around the outside into turn 2? He has to, surely, if he wants to get in front. Ends up P2. Scheider's on the inside as they go through turn 2. Doran's made it all the way to the outside. Has to back out to avoid the wall. Oh, 3 McGann's at the back. Anton Markland ends up in P4. Liam had made what a move to get up to where he did, but he ends up down in P6. And it is now Kristoffersson in front from Hansen and Scheider.
Yeah, I must say I missed what Liam done there. I can't wait to see the replay of that. But I was too busy looking at what was happening out front because that man, Johan Kristoffersson, got the whole shot. He knew he had to do it. Now Timmy Hansen, I think it's fair to say, has got a bit of an uphill battle if he wants to get to the front of this semi.
I think so, because I'm afraid the Polo works on older tyres. Yeah, they're all saying how much of a difference newer tyres makes, but if you took a car and you said which one's going to be quickest on old tyres, Dan, there's only one to pick, I'm afraid, for me.
Yeah, 100%. You saw the performances he put in yesterday and all day today on the old tyres, and this kind of proving now, isn't he? He's pulled a second already in 1 lap.
See what happens in the next sector. He did Timmy by a 10th in the final sector of the previous lap. And he's done another 10th again. So Kristoffersson's going away by a 10th at a time. This is definitely going to come down, I'm afraid, to the run to turn 1 between Ekström and Kristoffersson. If Ekström doesn't have party mode on for the start, and by that I mean the same settings Andreas Bakkerud was running in South Africa last year, I'll be staggered. I think he will go absolutely all in. Kristoffersson has won on Saturday at every event this year, but he hasn't got a Sunday win yet. He hasn't done a double. He will want to do that. He's never going to make it easy for Mattias. We could be in for a great fight.
Yeah, and it would also depend on tyres, won't it? Me and you we both saw 5 new ones at the back of Kristoffersson's camp, and we saw him only put 1 new one on for this semi-final.
I think they've both got 4 left. I think both Ekström and Kristoffersson have got 4 brand new tyres left, which is unbelievable tactics to get to this point, to make sure you're at the front and make sure you can do it. Fastest lap of the day on used tyres, 48.099. Pretty terrifying for everyone else, isn't it? Look at him, he's just absolutely at one with it. The bloke's a weapon.
Yeah, Timmy Hansen 3 tenths off the back of that on his previous lap. So how does he do it?
Well, the detail, isn't it?
Yeah, we were both discussing this before we came on air, weren't we? The amount of detail he
and
puts
the team,
in, everything involved with him is ridiculous.
Looking through everything from reaction times to previous onboards to previous lap times to tactics. Watching last year when he wasn't even here, he's across everything. A lot of these guys are, but combination of brilliant factors. Scheider, 2.8, 3.0 off the back of Kristoffersson now. Markland is 5 seconds back. Timo Scheider could make it through to the final here. Bakkerud's going to want to make it difficult for him. 0.4 of a second between them. I think it's clear that Kristoffersson's going to win with Hansen P2, bar any disasters for them. So what does Andreas do? Is he going to go early? It's lap 4 or 6. Has he got enough of a gap behind him? He has. Bakkerud goes Joker now. So Andreas Bakkerud has got to chuck in some amazing laps here. I think Doran will let him go.
Yeah, I think he could do as well, but it depends what they're saying to him on the radio, doesn't it? It looks like he's got enough of a gap.
Liam's line and the exit speed is good through there. Look, if Bakkerud gets back to him, I think Doran will go Joker next lap anyway. So unless Andreas really chases him down, I think this is one of the most tactical events I can remember in terms of because of the lack of passing, because of the high grip here, and the fact that so many cars are on a similar pace. It's become ultra tactical, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's something that we've really stepped up analysing, isn't it, for us personally?
Well, we've had to. Yeah. I mean, it's very, very close. It is very close. I think, Kristoffersson at the moment, you can see he's not making it look very close, but it's not as easy as that. Joker, Scheider, Joker for Doran. Doran's gone a bit too deep on the brakes, runs the car wide. He's going to lose out to Bakkerud anyway. Can Bakkerud make it through to the semi-final? Comes around taking that sweeping line. Going to look to the inside of Scheider now. Try and find the traction up to the first corner. He's got to have a go here on the brakes. Scheider's got it though. Liam loses out to Anton, on to the last lap. Bakkerud all over the back of Timo Scheider. He has to pass him on track if he wants to make it through. Oh, pitches it in sideways. He's going to have a go for the hairpin. Oh, brilliant move by Bakkerud. No, in the wall. Takes a wheel off immediately. Tried to make the pass on Timo Scheider. Couldn't get through the gap. And the front left corner is off Bakkerud's car and he's gone. He did his best. He absolutely did his best to get in there. That's a pretty big hit.
Pleased to see the door open on the car. That was a heavy impact, quite a sudden stop.
We saw Kevin Eriksson do a similar thing earlier on today in the battle with Ben Philip Gunnarsson, but he went in with the rear left and bounced it out. Kristoffersson going to win semi-2 to set up epic fight with Ekström. Timmy Hansen coming over the line for P2. Scheider gets third after that last-ditch attempt from Bakkerud. Markland and Liam Doran. Doran almost nicking a point off Markland at the line, but not quite. Okay, Andreas is still in the car, I think. So it was a big hit. Okay, well, we'll get people out there. There we go, straight away to go and check that everything's okay. He's climbing out the car. He's climbing out the car. Johan Kristoffersson wins semi-final number 2 by quite some margin for that epic fight in the final with Ekström. Hansen, has he got any new tyres left as well? Can he take the fight to them? Scheider did brilliant to hold on to third. Bakkerud tried so hard, but a little bit too hard, and unfortunately his race ended in the wall. So the 3 McGanns go out in semi-final 2. Not sure whether these guys will stop for a chat with Neil. I suspect not, because the turnaround time's quite quick. You never know with Johan. He might be fully chilled about it, but
Johan just got an epic start, didn't he?
Yeah, it's a long run to the first corner too, isn't it? It really is.
Makes the start even more crucial then, doesn't it?
Hansen out-dragged him earlier on today. Well, out-dragged him, that's not true. Was equal with him, but was inside him, I think. And that's the thing for Ekström, isn't it? Ekström has to make sure that Kristoffersson has got to go around him into turn 2. Yeah. He has to make him go around the outside, and then he has to hope that there's some action behind him. We all know that. I think Johan knows that's the game as well. Johan said himself in the interview, it's going to be about the start.
Yeah, 100%. But if there's one man that can nail the start, we certainly know Johan can. It just depends what Ekström.
If you had to name another one, who would it be?
It would be Ekström.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm like. Here we go. This is the move. So look, he's alongside him, but contact between the two, and Scheider's wheel hooked up with Bakkerud's there, and he got fired hard into the inside. There's a lot of damage on that car, so it's a shame. Kristoffersson wins semi-final 2.
Bit of smoke.
Yeah, a bit of smoke down there as well. Andreas was climbing out of the car last time we saw. Medical crew are down there with him. So that'd be why the marshals were running around the other side of the car, obviously to make sure there was nothing too untoward. Where is Andreas? Is he there? Yes, he is.
Helping him out.
No, he's being held up. I would suggest he's hurt his foot or his leg. Went in hard there, trying to shield him from the fans there. If you're wondering, that's what they're doing, is they're shooting from the fans. Let's take a look at the incident again on the run to this corner. So watch. He's alongside, but then watch the wheels hook up at the back. Boom, Scheider climbs the front or the rear, Dan.
Yeah.
Racing incident for me?
Yeah, I mean, part of me says there is going to be an investigation into that 100%.
Unfortunately, the investigation won't make any difference to Andreas. Yeah, whether Scheider, the stewards will say whether Scheider could give him enough room. I mean, who knows? That's a tricky one. Okay, action in semi-final 2. Not of the kind we want to see. You know, very much we love to see close racing action. We don't ever love to see big crashes. And Andreas Bakkerud obviously in a bit of pain there. He has 4 weeks to the next round, doubleheader in Barcelona. So if he is hurt, he's got some time to recover and obviously have some time to rebuild a fairly well-hurt McGann. Mattias Ekström has won the Champion Fast Start Award. There it is, side of the track. We're going to take a look back at the starts. Semi-final 1. So he's had enough quick starts today. I suspect when he was winning Q1 and Q2, here it is, that he's just ahead of his teammate Larsen, and job done. So we got this, here it is from the side, watch this. Yeah, it gives you a good idea of what start it was. He was 3/4 ahead by the time he got to the finish line, which is roughly where the Champion Fast Start Award is being measured from. So he wins that for today. I think Kristoffersson won it yesterday. Can't move Bakkerud's car, so they're bringing the man to him from the other side to lift it up onto the trailer. You saw the wheel off it. You know, the wheel was destroyed, tyre was destroyed, drive shaft pulled out. I mean, Dan, it's really about whether or not there's chassis damage to the front left corner.
Yeah, I was going to say there could well be some of that.
We're not talking about today. We're talking about how long they've got to repair it and how bad the damage is.
Yeah, I was worried about that. It was a very, very hard impact.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, you can see where the wheels come back and squash the door. You see the Monster Energy logo there. You can see the wheel will have come back and bounced out of the door there. But Andreas climbed out of the car on his own. That's the most important thing. Andreas, we wish you well. You know that. Take one last look at the incident. Afraid I think we've only got the rear shot. Thing is, Scheider won't necessarily know either that he's fully inside him, because it was an incredible move. Look at this. So Scheider he pitches it in super early to get the exit, and he is well alongside him. But as Scheider would maybe be moving to cover him off on the brakes as well, Dan. I'm not our job to call that. It's whether or not I think Bakkerud was well inside.
Yeah, I feel like maybe Scheider didn't quite give him enough room there. I'm going to be fair.
Yeah. So you think he might have known? Well, I think he probably could have known. He was
well up the inside.
3/4 up the inside.
Yeah, and you got to remember he's sitting on the left-hand side as well, so he would have felt him in the door.
Yeah.
He would have known he was right there.
But then the touch of the wheels has fired it hard as well. Look, it's tough. We want to see them race hard. We don't want to see people, smash up cars and get hurt. So most important of all is that we wish Andreas Bakkerud well. The rest of it, thankfully, is not down to us. Well, you join us after the semi-finals in Riga for round 6 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. We have with us this weekend one of our support categories, Project E. We're going to take a look back at the action from Q3 and 4 from Project E. So off the line, this is Cyril Raymond on the inside, debuting the brand new C3 ERX. So built with the same Stard kit that all the Stard Fiestas are behind, and it's a proper joint venture between Stard and Citroën Racing. Frenchman at the wheel, Dan, someone you know pretty well.
Yeah, so I used to race against Cyril in RX2, and well, it's good to see him out there, isn't it? In a car that's got a bit of manufacturer support as well. Fantastic.
This was Q3. Natalie Barrett having a bit of a spin. There was contact between her and Yannis Balmanis at the start, unfortunately, and that broke Yannis's car. It was a great fight between him and Cyril. They'd won a session each on Saturday. They're only doing a normal event, so 4 qualifying sessions over the course of the 2 days, and then it would be semis and finals. But still a bit early doors for Project E. But look at how Cyril is able to lean on the car. And we saw the same from Balmanis as well. You're going to see that in a second, because this now, Balmanis starting on the outside. You can smoke the tyres up big time in these cars. Everybody getting better at the starts. Baumanis got the whole shot in Q4. Cyril Raymond was chasing him, and this was a proper race between them. Good race as well in the background between Holton and Barrett. The C3 based on the R5 rally car, Rally 2 spec car. Cyril was all over the back of Baumanis. Tried even to find a way out the inside on the standard lap, which we've never seen anyone do, but seemingly brilliant traction for the Frenchman. They did split the strategy in the end. You can see Baumanis hanging it out, and this was him on the Joker lap. And as they come around to the last corner, Cyril Raymond outside, Yanis Baumanis inside, and Cyril Raymond gives him just a car's width and outguns him to the line. Great racing between them. Round 2 of this new series, and we've got the final coming up for you. Will it be Cyril Raymond or Yanis Baumanis at home? Four cars rolling up to the line for the second ever round of Project E. The first one was won by Ken Block. Natalie Barrett and Herman Neubauer were with us in Höljes. They didn't come to Finland. We only had the world category in Finland. But they are here in Latvia, and they're coming back twice more this season, so it's a 4-round championship. Does mean Natalie Barrett is probably going to lead the standings when we leave here, but the big story has been about the fight between the guys on the front row. Here's the lineup. Cyril Raymond on the pole, the Frenchman in the brand new C3 ERX from Citroën Racing and Stard. Yanis Baumanis in the Ford Fiesta ERX from Stard. And then row 2, Svein Bjart Holten and Natalie Barrett. So the back row have been having a good fight of their own, but it's been about the front row. I'm hoping that both Cyril Raymond and Yanis Baumanis get away clean, and that we see a good race between them. Strange just to hear the cooling systems on the line. All about temperature running these electric cars. No need to save any battery power at all due to the short nature of the races in Rallycross. Here we go, waiting for the green. Jump start in the background. Natalie Barrett's jump to start. So 2 jokers for Natalie.
She reckons she's quicker in the Joker, doesn't she?
She does, actually. Yeah, she said that yesterday. You think she might have done it on purpose?
I don't know, maybe.
That'd be tactically genius if she did. I quite like the idea.
I'm sure she'll be telling the kids at home that she'd done it on purpose.
Yeah, a lot of pressure from the kids at home for Natalie. ×2 Joker board goes up for Natalie Barrett. Been in quite a tight fight with Holton. I would say I think she's had lap pace over Holton. The problem now is how she does this. So if I were Natalie, I'd Joker, unless she beats Holton off the start, which she has done again a few times today, been aggressive in the start, I'd Joker early and give yourself some space then to put some laps in, and then Joker again if you catch up and hope you can edge on the pace. But, you know, 2 Jokers and still getting past someone is a big ask. There's the fans. We've got Reinis Nitish and Yanis Baumanis fans here, of course, in Latvia. Reinis was in Supercar, didn't make the semis today, did yesterday, much to the delight of the crowd, and they've been going mad as well for Baumanis in Project E. Restart of the Project E final after Barrett jumped it in the first one. Hopefully a clean getaway this time. Absolutely fantastic start in the front row for both Cyril Raymond and Yanis Baumanis. Baumanis can't quite get in there. Holton has a look to the inside line. Baumanis gives enough room from behind. No contact this time round, so now we're expecting a clean fight then between Baumanis and Cyril Raymond.
Cyril had a great start then, didn't he? He was able to get into the first couple of corners without any contact at all with Baumanis, but those 2 already pulled away, haven't they?
Yeah, they're going to get a gap on Barrett and Holton behind. I think Barrett will Joker from here. I don't know, it depends whether or not she wants to be dragged around by Holton. It might be that she likes chasing. Dan, you always say about how important that is.
Yeah, so if you've got a target in front of you, you've got someone you can work off of, try and brake a little bit later then, go on the throttle earlier then, but she's decided to go to the Joker lap, so she's got 2 to do, so she may as well get 1 out of the way now. She's at the back of the field.
Yeah, got to keep it clean, so shame she jumped the start, really. It's made life difficult for her in terms of getting past Holton. Cyril Raymond has gapped Baumanis by just a little bit. It's 0.8 of a second on the first lap. Yesterday we saw the top foil of the wing come off at this point.
Yeah, so that was an expensive break, wasn't it? Those rear wings aren't cheap at all, are they? But
full carbon bad boy, isn't it, that?
Yeah, but I wonder if they've used any super glue for it to...
Well, it was off the car last night. I did notice that. It was definitely off the car last night. I wonder if it's a different element that was on there before, but we like the look of the car. You know, I'll be honest, I was never a big fan of it as a World Rally car, but I think with the sort of R5 with the big rear wing, it actually looks quite cool.
Yeah, it looks really smart, doesn't it? And it seems to handle really well as well. So
that's the other thing, of course. There's been a lot more running for the Fiestas in both in testing. I got a ride with Stoll here last year when they debuted the car in front of the crowd. Been testing and racing since then. Manfred Stoll has been. Holton's gone joker the cover off Barrett. Stoll's been racing in Austria and has actually won events outright using the car.
Well, and the chassis has been used in conventional supercars as well.
Yes, of course.
So they've got all of that data too, whereas, of course, the Citroën hasn't had any of that running at all.
No, it hasn't. It's a successful R5 car, Rally 2, depending on how you want to refer to it. Citroën are still referring to it as based on the R5 car, Citroën Racing. This is a great job interview by Cyril Raymond, isn't it?
Yeah. What can you bring to the floor, Mr. Raymond?
I can 1.1 seconds on the... mind you, most of that 0.8 was on the first lap.
Yeah, so just settling in. The car looks a little bit bouncy, you know.
Over the curbs?
As he lands off of all of the impact, I'm wondering whether maybe he's had a hard landing off of one of the jumps.
Oh, what, and blown a damper in the rear. I'm with you. So Cyril did actually say to us, Natalie takes her second joker on lap 4. Cyril said to us that with the car, with the settings it's running currently, obviously there's a bit of additional weight in terms of things like batteries and motors in the car compared to a standard rally car, and the weight balance is different front to rear. So Cyril had said he's having to squash the jump at the back of the track a bit, and then we're going to work on the settings for that. Yeah, I see what you mean, Dan, rear end.
Yeah, the back of the car is quite bouncy. Watch him as he lands over the jump now.
No, it's not too terrible,
bad,
is it?
But
no. They could be trying something with the settings, of course. That's the other thing. You know, he'll want to win, but they might well try stiffening it up, softening it off, whatever they feel is going to work in terms of the landings and a big push. But he's now 1.6 ahead of Balmanis. Balmanis goes joker. So Balmanis getting out of the mirrors of Cyril as he comes through the first corner. Cyril Raymond is able to slide that car the whole way from the exit of that corner right the way out to the outside. And this is what was missing, we were saying in Höljes, is people leaning on the car.
Yeah, so not quite able to master it, have they? But maybe they found something with the cars, of course. This championship as a whole, the technology is moving forwards. Everybody's learning at the same pace. So maybe they found something with that. Maybe it's the track that we're driving on. Who knows?
Yeah, well, this is a lot higher grip than Höljes was. Höljes, of course, is also subject to watering, dust decks, the gravel getting cut up, dragging it out. We had a wet day in Höljes as well, so I think they didn't have the same amount of seat time in the same conditions. Every session was different. Cyril Raymond on lap 5, jokers with 1 to go. And that might be so that he can take the standard lap around the outside lap on his last lap. What's the gap back to Balmanis now? It's about 1.6 when he went in. 2.4. Yeah.
Yeah, good job by Cyril.
Very much. Citroën will be very pleased with that. Natalie Barrett, look, is right with Holton.
And she's done her 2 joker laps.
So Barrett does have the pace, but she struggled to pass Holton earlier on today, sliding the rear of the car out wide. Come on, Natalie, give it a go. Come on, Holton as well. See if he can hold on. Definitely looked more on top of the car this weekend as well. Cyril Raymond, then the Frenchman, bit of an RX2 legend, did supercar last year, disappeared off the radar a little bit and is back now with Citroën Racing and starred in Project E, and this is a brilliant debut for the new C3 ERX. Big slide around the final corner, smoking up the rear tyres, crosses the line. That car looks perfectly well balanced to me. Cyril's not afraid of chucking that about as he takes the win in the second ever round of Project E. Holton and Barrett still fighting it out for P3. Balmanis crossed the line already. Natalie goes out wide. She's going to cut in tight now and try and gun it to the line. Good tactics from her spotters, but not quite close enough. Oh, donuts look from Balmanis and from Cyril Raymond. Absolutely lighting it up. That gives you a good idea. Ken Block measured the wheel speed at something ridiculous, like 180 kilometers an hour on these, because of course you don't have to go up through the gears, you just keep winding the throttle on until the RPM goes super high on the motor. Cyril's going to get out of the car. If I was Citroën Racing, I would be very pleased indeed with that kind of a debut. Great race between him and Yanis. Gives Yanis a wave and a thumbs up. Yanis Balmanis taking P2 at home in Latvia. Yeah, well done, Cyril. Looked so on top of the car. I was quite surprised how much he was willing to get it sideways over the start-finish line, but he obviously feels really comfortable in it. Cyril Raymond taking the win in Project E. Yanis Baumanis, Svein Beate Holten, and Natalie Barrett in P4. Such an even start between Baumanis and Cyril Raymond. I think Barrett was potentially a bit nervous there at the start. Once you've done one, you don't want to do a second one and get withdrawn. So losing out on the start to Holten.
Yeah, didn't want to risk it too much energy. She wanted to at least finish the event.
Yeah, get the points and I say potentially leave for her and her sponsors with the championship lead.
Yeah,
she's pretty impressive really in the first ever season. I know we're going to see different drivers in and out of the cars, but all the same, good to see Natalie here and racing with us. See what I mean about Cyril Raymond? He's able to properly lean on this car. Citroen, you need to send us a couple more of these because I want to see a big scrap. I think if this was as close as we've seen in Supercar, people could start to get their heads around it. Look at this. People were saying that if the car got too sideways in Höljes, they couldn't hold on to it. Cyril Raymond can hold on to that at a hell of an angle. Look at the speed of the donuts as possible for Baumanis and for Cyril Raymond as well. Great show for the small crowd that we've got here this weekend. You can normally hear them cheering and going mad. Thanks to COVID, not quite so many people here, but still a great show. Well done, Cyril Raymond. Championship standings after round 2. It is indeed Natalie Barrett who leads from Ken Block. Cyril Raymond equal on points. I wonder if we might see him come back later on this year. Of course, there are 4 rounds. Then you've got Baumanis, Herman Neubauer and Svein Beate Holten in P6. Neil Coles with Cyril Raymond.
Nice one, Cyril. You have put your French driver in the history books in Project E.
I'm so happy for the Citroën C3 Euro RX from start. He did a really good job along the weekend. We improved a lot the car, but still we have a lot of work to do on the car. I'm really happy. I really enjoyed the electric performance from start. He did a really good job during the winter too. I'm really happy to show you this car. My feeling in the car is so amazing. You can't imagine the sensation. You do the difference on the track just by the driver. Sorry, I'm so happy. So thank you.
Congratulations,
so much,
félicitations.
Thank you, merci. Yes.
Very happy, Cyril Raymond. Good to see. Nice to see him back as well, Dan. Well, not so bad for me. I know he's not your favourite person, is he? No, nothing personal.
No. I think time to put that under the bridge.
Yeah, exactly. Dan Rook having a great fight with Cyril Raymond a couple of years back in the RX2 title race. Good racing from Project E. 1 race to go here in Riga. There they are. The Warriors ready to try and take the win here. 3 wins so far this season for Johan Kristoffersson. 1 for Gronholm, 1 for Ekström. Kristoffersson has won all the Saturdays. He's lost all the Sundays. P4 in Finland after a little nudge from Timmy in the last corner. Practice start from Ekström. You can hear who's up next for a practice start already. All sorts of clever stuff going on with the launch on the Volkswagen. It's something which I know other teams have had sleepless nights about trying to get it the same. Waiting for whatever it is they have to wait for. They're not cheating, we're not saying that at all. There is a process there, definitely. The more I see it, the more I'm convinced of it. But...
Did you hear that?
Yes, what did you think?
Yeah, it was way too low on the RPM, wasn't it?
Okay.
It just bogged, just whoa.
Suggests new tyres as well, doesn't it? And a lot of grip.
Potentially.
We'll find out in a minute. How many new tyres has who got on what car? Timmy Hansen doesn't seem to have used that many new tyres to me today. I'm betting that the front... No, not the front 3, because Larsen is 3rd. I reckon Kristoffersson, Ekström. Timo Scheider's out. Timo Scheider then has been penalised for his contact with Andreas Bakkerud. Stewards felt he didn't give enough room. And he's been removed from the final lineup. That puts Kevin Hansen in at the back of the grid. We just heard that from race control. It's not even on our timing screens yet. That is a message directly from race control. Scheider's there at the back of the line. Look, is he going to go in? That we're hearing not. Scheider's probably in the car and belted up. Markland's there too, though. Who's first reserve? We're hearing Kevin's in. Is he in the car and good to go? So Andreas Bakkerud, we've heard, is perfectly okay, but he's being taken for a checkup. That's what we want to hear. So we say perfectly okay, but like they're saying, Scheider is out, Markland is out, and Kevin Hansen is in. So Hansen was in P7 in qualifying, so was ahead of Markland. And they will turn up as reserves. You know, you come if you've been fourth. Markland, I'm pretty sure was he fourth in his semi? No, he might have been fifth. But Bakkerud didn't make the lines. Yes, he would have been. So Markland would have been fourth, wouldn't he? Because the three McGanns were 4, 5, 6. So you go there. Basically, if you're P4 in each of the semis, you turn up just in case someone doesn't get the car re-prepped and the first reserve goes in. But that is Kevin Hansen. I say Bakkerud is perfect. Okay, we're saying Bakkerud is fine. He's okay. But he's gone for a check, and obviously at some point I'm sure his or our social media will give you an update. Okay, that's a load of people from the FIA and the organiser in the background running across the grid there. Okay, they're just heading back. Fine, they're heading back to the tower. So they've been down to deliver the decision to the pre-grid.
Interestingly, obviously Markland was lining up because he was in the same race as Scheider. So does that mean that he's been disqualified rather than given a time penalty to knock him out? Because Kevin's in. Because if he was given a time penalty, Markland would be in, because he'd theoretically take third place.
I can never remember how. We haven't got the grid for the final. We ended the ones for the semis.
It's because it's under investigation still on our screen.
It's not. It's just. It's all too. I'm afraid the information's coming to us too fresh. So the first, for example, the first reserve for the semis was Nitish, followed by Munich, followed by Shisharit. I say it may just be that it's P4 and P4. But either way, we've got your grid. Last race from Riga, round 6 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. Johan Kristoffersson and Mattias Ekström are on the front row. Ekström is on pole. New tyres for Ekström. They're saying no for Kristoffersson. We're not sure that's correct. Larsen and Timmy Hansen on row 2. And on row 3, it's Niklas Gronholm and Kevin Hansen, who's been put in at the last minute after Scheider was removed because of the contact with Bakkerud. Marshall's leaving the grid for the last time. Brilliant job by the organisers of Neste World RX of Riga. Fantastic host city. Great to see some fans back. They're going to see some racing one last time here. Ekström, for me, has to beat Kristoffersson to turn 1. Graphics show Kristoffersson didn't have any tyres left, but we haven't seen enough new ones gone on. It might just be they've just been slightly scrubbed in. Brilliant start by Ekström on the inside line, moves across on Kristoffersson immediately. Johan can't get to turn 1 first from there. Larsen up the inside. Kristoffersson gets a little nudge from the outside. Timmy Hansen trying to make a mayo all the way around the outside line. Larsen slots in behind Kristoffersson. Ekström leads. Gronholm going to try and go around Larsen the outside of turn 3. Larsen pushes him wide. Gronholm over the dirt. Timmy Hansen goes inside. Oh, a lock up at the hairpin as well. Maybe a bit of contact between Kristoffersson and Ekström. In the background, Kevin Hansen slots in behind Timmy Hansen. Gronholm is 4th, but it's Ekström versus Kristoffersson out front.
We've got party mode turned on that S1, haven't we? So, yeah, great to see Ekström get out in front of Kristoffersson, because now we've got a real fight.
Yeah, we have. I think if Kristoffersson had gone first, I still think Kristoffersson might have new tyres on that, Dan. What do you think? I know the graph said not, but people are checking that in a hurry down at the grid. Kristoffersson said himself, we've got a very aggressive tyre strategy. They only put 1 on it in the semi.
Yeah, I mean, and we saw it at the awning as well. Yeah. We had 5 new tyres ready.
Yeah. So we're pretty sure these guys are both on fresh tyres. Either way, epic battle between them. Doesn't matter what tyres they're on. Now it's down to the race. Ekström got the first part of the job done. He had to win the start. Gronholm, look again, he's in behind Larsen, and at the moment can't find a way through. Both the Hansen's still there. Where's Timmy's Jokin? So Timmy's Jokin dropped himself off the back of the pack.
Be interesting to see what KYB Team JC do with Robin Larsen now, because obviously they've got Gronholm for company, but also they can use Larsen as a gunner against Kristoffersson.
So they've got to leave him out, basically. They've got to leave him out to take away as many opportunities as possible for Kristoffersson to joker. If Kristoffersson goes, I think they have to respond immediately on the next lap.
Yeah, 100%. And of course, if the gap is correct, then Larsen may potentially be able to just get in the way of Kristoffersson. Not necessarily try and hold him up.
No, but just make the merge difficult. Make him lose 1/10. You know, Kristoffersson is the master. He's the man with the most wins in the World Rallycross Championships history. Took another one yesterday. He is very hard to beat. Ekström didn't even do a single warm-up lap this morning to make sure that he had the tyres for the final. Through the left, up and over the jump. Kristoffersson is right with him. If they get the gap big enough for Johan to get in and out in front of Larsen, then I think he'll go joker. But at the moment, he can't. He has to follow Ekström.
Yeah, he has to follow. Who's just
Larsen's gone joker. Larsen's gone into the joker lap. That might release Kristoffersson unless Gronholm's near enough. So Larsen goes. Is this to cover Timmy Hansen behind him? I think it is. So watching Timmy Hansen on the standard lap now. Larsen's on the inside. Larsen will try and hold it tight. Timmy will try and go inside and gives him a push all the way to turn one. Larsen holds on though, so they went to cover off Hansen behind. Had to be done. But does that open an opportunity for Kristoffersson?
Let's look at the gap. It's 2.4 back to Gronholm. So no, it doesn't open up the gap. So they're still going to have to wait it out. What can Gronholm do now? There's damage on the front of Kristoffersson's car. Maybe he's been into the back of Ekström.
It was tight again at the start, wasn't it? We saw that. And Johan mentioned earlier today the cooling package is, of course, in the front of the Polo. Everything looks okay to me at the moment. What are the lap times like? They're 48.5. They're right down in the quick ones. 48.5 from both of them. There's 1/10 of a second between them on the last lap. Epic battle between two of our winners from this year, two of our previous world champions, Ekström in 16, Kristoffersson in 17 and 18. Larsen out of the picture now, but in the fight with Timmy Hansen.
Watch for the gap now. I think Kristoffersson's going to go on this lap. He's going to be able to pull out another couple attempts in this lap. He's going to go and be able to get out in front of Gronholm.
Kristoffersson backing it into turn 3. Gronholm 3.1, the gap's come down, so Gronholm's gone back by 1/10. He runs a bit wide though in the hairpin. Is there going to be a window for Kristoffersson to do it? Does Kristoffersson need more than one lap to be able to edge Ekström? This is the other thing, and Ekström is the master of being able to hold on. Here he goes, he has to go now. There is no choice. Gronholm doesn't go. Kristoffersson really needs to beat Gronholm at the merge here, otherwise it's game over. I think it's Kristoffersson's win if he doesn't get out in front of Gronholm. The Polo's on a massive push on the inside line, but he's got to open the throttle up. He can't drop 10th here. Maybe going to drop a place to Gronholm, but Gronholm hasn't jokered yet. I think Kristoffersson's going to lose a couple of tenths there, Dan, by holding on to the position from Gronholm behind him.
Yeah, now Gronholm's applying the pressure. Look, he's having a look up the inside. He's in the mirrors of Kristoffersson. It's not going to rattle him too much, but he's going to be aware of it, isn't he? Drops a wheel on the curb on the outside. Gronholm's all over the back of him.
He had to block Gronholm off, even though Gronholm hasn't jokered. It gets into the back of him again. He had to block him because otherwise he was going to lose too much time, and he knew it'd be Ekström's game, but has blocking off Gronholm, and the exit of the merge meant that it's going to go the way of Mattias Ekström. Ekström into the joker lap now. Gronholm's going to go with him. Watch for Kristoffersson on the inside line. Over the jump and around the right-hander. I think Kristoffersson has had to give up too much time. He won't give up until the very last corner, but Mattias Ekström has been the master tactician here for round 6, and he wins in Riga. Kristoffersson crosses the line in P2. P3 goes to Larsen. 2 cars for KYB Team JC on the podium, and that was absolutely brilliant tactics to make sure he had the tyres to get it done. He had the TQ, he had the pole, he did everything he had to do. Make the plan, execute the plan, he did it. Second win of the year for Ekström.
Ekström winning round 6.
Mattias Ekström wins round 6 of FIA World RX 2020. Kristoffersson so close behind him. If Kristoffersson hadn't had to cover Gronholm at the merge, that would have been so close. Larsen gets P3. Brilliant performance by him after a problem earlier today when he clipped the wall. Timmy Hansen 4th, Gronholm and Kevin Hansen. Win for Ekström, got it right. No warm-up laps this morning, saved every millimetre of tyre wear that he could to get the job done. Oh, well, he had to win the start. That was all in. What we said he'd go all in. The thing is, this has been playing out, Dan, all day long. From the very first rollout. When he pulled off the track this morning, we were up in the spotters tower. He didn't even do a lap. You knew the game had started.
Yeah, I came straight over to you, didn't I? I said, oh, look who's saving tyres.
Yeah, not a lap. Same for Larsen. They saved every... No, you know, yesterday we had the practice session, so we'd lost some tyre wear. Not so today. Both Larson and Ekström saved every tyre. Larson had to give up some of that fresh rubber, didn't he, to get himself further up the standings, which he did to brilliant effect. Managed to get himself into P3 by winning the third qualifying session today, and actually only the fourth person to win a session this year as a result of that. And then Ekström won the start against Kristoffersson. Now, if he'd been, again, he had to win. He had to win his start and hold on. And one of Ekström's teams had just come and shouted into the commentary box, giving a thumbs up. I spoke to him just before, and they kind of said, he said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I think Mattias has to win the semi, and he has to get pole in the final, and then he has to win the start." And he said, "You are exactly right," and that's what he's done, Dan. I think this is the point, isn't it? That for me is where any chance of Kristoffersson edging him at the merge was gone.
Yeah, he had to back out the throttle there, didn't he? So he didn't run too wide. You know,
how much time do you reckon he'd lose there?
Yeah, 2 or 3 tenths.
It's enough though, isn't it? Like if you can apply pressure at the merge and then Ekström has to roll off it or hold an inside line, you go wide. It kind of, I'm almost a bit gutted because Gronholm was out of that, and I would have liked to have seen them go right 10th to 10th to the line, but that's the game, isn't it? Put him back in the fight and make him fight for it. There you go. That's just literally leaned in, made up. Fantastic. Good performance by Ekström. Second win of the year. He'll love this, you know, because it's... Yesterday, Kristoffersson did it to everybody else. Yeah, fantastic. Wonderful win for Ekström in terms of the tactics. Johan will be disappointed that he couldn't get the merge. You know what I mean? I wanted to see the one lap, because that's what you want to see Ekström do, the one lap, and Kristoffersson do the one lap. But Kristoffersson had to cover Gronholm. Did you want to see the lap as well?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
the one where you go, this is the lap, get it done.
Yeah, so obviously he sort of had the lap, but he had the first 2 or 3 corners ruined by having to defend.
Perfect job by Ekström to manage to beat Kristoffersson. There's Mattias Ekström taking his crash helmet off and making his way to the podium. We've got some media here this weekend, I say, because of being in a different scenario. Here are the championship standings after round 6. Kristoffersson at the top of the table on 166. Ekström now 17 points behind, so he's closed that gap down by a couple of points, I think. Gronholm is in P3, Hansen P4. Larson goes up to 5th with a great performance today. Kevin Hansen down to 6th. Scheider up to 7th. Bakkerud down to 8th. Timmy and Markland stay where they are. Sabo goes up ahead of Ritkonen. Neil Cole is with our winner, Mattias Ekström, the master technician here in Riga for round 6.
Mattias, we can see how much it means for you to win again. How did you get it done? What was the strategy?
I think this time I can say was not luck, because in the draw I was dead last. So I got the starting grid nobody wanted in Q1, and from then on I just drove everything I could. And I think what was the key was last night we did some changes, and those changes worked. So bottom line is, when you have pace you can win the race, and we had a good tire strategy. So I'm so happy for KYB for having such awesome teammate with Robin, JC, all the sponsors, and yeah, this will be a good one to enjoy.
Congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
Team standings. KYB, Team JC extend their lead at the top of the table ahead of Team Hansen and GRX Tanago. Monster Energy RX Cartel with a better weekend here, move up ahead of allinko.com Munich Motorsport, uncorrupted in P6.
Second place, Johan Kristoffersson.
Ekström up on the podium. Took the TQ. It's his 8th career TQ. He's 5th on that list behind Kristoffersson, Solberg, Hansen and Bakkerud. Hasn't done quite as many of them, of course. And that is his 12th career victory.
And now it's time for some...
Ekström, the master tactician on the top step of the podium. Kristoffersson won't mind being beaten. He knows the game. He played it yesterday. Well, he will mind being beaten, but, you know, he knows that's the way it goes. Larsen and Ekström, a brilliant pair of teammates. If Larsen hadn't had the problem earlier on today, it was Q2, he ended up down in P15. Yeah, you wonder, would it have been, I don't know, could he have got P2? Fantastic racing either way. Round 6, another doubleheader, done and dusted here in Latvia. That's 3 now. Well done to all the organisers here and of the World Championship as well. I know we've told you guys a lot, but everybody has worked so hard to get these events away during COVID, and we've even been lucky enough to have a crowd here to witness the action this weekend. Yesterday, dry conditions both days. I think the signals yesterday were that Kristoffersson was going to be unbeatable, but Ekström said it. They went away, they did some work, they looked at the numbers, they looked at the settings, they thought, you know what, we think we can do this. And today, with no laps, I say pulling off the track to save the tyres, to make sure they're in the best position possible. Look at Kristoffersson in his semi-final, just checked out, absolutely destroyed everyone. But come the final, tyre tactics had worked. This was Bakkerud, big shunt into the wall, hoping he's okay. As soon as possible, we'll let you know, of course. He was out the car and away. He's got 4 weeks to recover before we head to Barcelona and continue the championship fight. On to the final. And this was the all-important moment. Ekström looking across, he looks across at his championship rival. Wonderful shot with the sun low in the sky here in Riga, bringing the curtain down on a brilliant weekend of action. He got it done. He got the start he needed. Then it was a big fight. Kristoffersson had to hold up Gronholm to hold on to his position and be able to try and chase Ekström down, but holding Gronholm behind him to try and get the edge on the times meant that when it came to the final corner, he wasn't quite close enough. Ekström takes the win for round 6. Kristoffersson's won every Saturday so far. He's been beaten on the Sundays. We've got another double-header coming up for you in 4 weeks' time for the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, where we will continue the fight for the 2020 FIA World Rallycross Championship. See you there.